Announce yourself when you get up in here. So I know you're here. I see people, but I don't see people. Yow, wow, wow. And of course, hit the like button. Likety like. Um, all right. Afro Power, what's up? You got those Konami Shump collection, or I think that's supposed to be Shmup, like shoot 'em ups collection PSP games like Gradius, Parodius, etc. No, only because I don't like playing shmups on a small screen. So I never get stuff like that for any handhelds. But I got some good stuff here. Got some good stuff here. Let me move this. This will be interesting. All right, and then we're gonna want to start here. So let's turn that on its side and open it up. Oop. Like so. All right, get it going. If you're in here, I oblige you to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and do share if you want to do that as well. That always helps. We're getting on that PSP today. We're gonna get started very soonly here. Very soonly. I'm guessing my levels is good. Good. Don't you know no good? 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 Let me know if you know what that's from. Don't you know no good? Don't you know no good? Gotta be careful. What is it? YouTube might want to drop my stream, acting like that's a what do you call it? A licensed song or something. Don't you know no good? Don't you know no good? Don't you know no good? Great stuff. Great stuff. Don't you know no good? Do you know no good? Do you know no good? Don't you know no good? Don't you know no good? All right, man. I see some people watching. Let me know you're here. Say hello. How's it going? What you doing? How you living? Good, I hope. Dealing with some allergies today. My eyes are a little itchy, a little dry, but I'm good. I'm good. I'm alright. Alright. Vicky said it's gonna be stuck in your head. You know that's from, Vicky? Because it's been stuck in my head. I'll give you a hint. It's been stuck in my head at least 25 years. Yeah. So that's kind of a hint. It's for old folks. But I think the new folks, the young folks, should know what that's all about too. At least learn. Navon Wise, what's up? What's up? What's up? Or another hint. I just gave you another hint by saying, what's up? What's up? What's up? Anybody figured it out yet? Don't you know no good? Don't you know no good? Don't you know no good? I'll tell you who sang it. The character's name is Jerome Rome. Come on, somebody got to figure it out by now. Jerome Rome. Vicky says, hey, Mizzah Tee, things aren't the best, but you just made me laugh. Good. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to relieve you of your stresses, have some fun, talk about gaming, maybe show you some games you haven't played before, and in my collection here, and have a good laugh. There's too much nonsense, craziness going on in the world. We need to giggle and laugh and have fun. It sounds familiar. All right. So it's old, and the character's name who sang it is Jerome Rome. Another good hint was, what's up, what's up, what's up? But if you didn't watch the show, you probably don't know. He was a bad boy, and he had a great show in the 90s. There's another hint, a really good hint. He was a bad boy, and he had a great show in the 90s. Don't you know no good? Where he had a lot of characters that he played, and Jerome Rome was one of them. Jerome, he had that character evolved because it started off as like some crusty dude. Nope, 90s. Yes, 90s. He was a bad boy, and he had a great show in the 90s where he played a plethora of characters. One of my favorites is Jerome Rome, who was going to be like a quick throwaway character, but it was very popular. Afro Power says he knows. Damn, I'm on my phone, so the delay is crazy, says Navon. He's a bad boy. I mean, I don't know how much easier I can make it than to keep calling him a bad boy. The other bad boy, his wife just came out and admitted to getting down and dirty with a young singer, and that should be a pretty good hint. Had a little red table talk about that situation, but I'm talking about the other bad boy. One of his friends never had a job. Yes, I know Afro Power knows. One of his friends never had a job. It was a ongoing, beautiful, running theme in the show. One guy used to come in his window all the time and do like this when he saw people. And he would just make him a sandwich, because he liked making him sandwiches, We talking entanglement? Yes, we're talking entanglement. Well, partially, Rufus. There was an entanglement with one of the bad boys, but that's not the bad boy I'm talking about. The other bad boy also had a show in the 90s, because they both had really popular shows in the 90s. Yes, Martin. Yes, Navon Wise got it. Martin, what's up? What's up? What's up? It's one of my favorite shows of all time. Martin. And he had this character named Jerome, who was kind of a bum at first, but then they realized a lot of people liked him, so they kind of turned him into like a ghetto pimp. And so he had a really bad grill and a perm and a lot of really good episodes. Which floor you live on? Such a good show. Such a good show. I still watch it to this day. I'm sure you can stream it somewhere. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what I last saw him. Where did I see? Can't remember. But great show. Great show. Holds up. Still is hilarious to this day. Because Martin is like a really good physical comedian, which that stuff never gets old to me anyway. That's what I love about Jim Carrey. But Martin, he did all those characters, and one of them was Rome, and he sang this song, "Don't You Know No Good, Don't You Know No Good." Vicky says the sandwich made me remember. And the Wayans brothers, yes, Navon Wise, the Wayans brothers. I didn't watch as much, but I still watched. Let's see. It's crazy because Navon Wise says it's crazy because I never really seen Martin like that. LOL, my brother used to love that show though. Oh, okay. So you're probably more used to movie Martin or later Martin or Bad Boys Martin, but yeah, that TV show was the best. It was about the highlight of my week during, what was it, high school? Was it high school? Yeah. Early high school. So, yeah. Don't you know no good. Look it up. Great show. All right, we'll get started. Pops with the belt. Wayne's brother was cut too short. Too bad. Yeah, it was. Maybe if it came out a little earlier, but yeah, it was definitely cut too short. And it's funny because they made a joke about that. I'm pretty sure you probably caught it, Rufus. If you watch the Scary Movies, the first Scary Movie, they made a joke about Wayans Brothers being canceled. Who was it? Sean. Sean made a joke as he was stabbing the other guy. They canceled. It was a good show. So that was pretty funny. That was a nice little Easter egg there. And Living Color was one of the best sketch shows ever. Yes, it was. Navon was. And Living Color was that show. That's where I discovered Jim Carrey and became a huge Jim Carrey fan. And then Ace Ventura. A lot of people give Ace Ventura crap. I love both of those movies. I think they're hilarious. Still, I watched them recently, and they hold up. Because you always worry about that comedy is going to hold up or not. But I think it does. I love it. And speaking of which, because this is the type of stuff, and I know I'm late, but very, very, very soon, I'll be covering these types of things on my ATM, my Mizzah Tee ATM channel. I'll be doing like TV shows and movies, conversation, or commentary and reviews and stuff like that. So definitely subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I probably should get you a link. I'll get you a link later on in the show. But yeah, that's going to be a fun channel. And I won't be doing there won't be any ads on that channel because fair use is fair use, but you get into all these issues with these companies who don't understand fair use. So if you want to help the channel out, obviously subscribe, share it, make sure you watch the videos and comment. But since I won't be putting any ads on that channel, if you want to help out the channel, all you got to do is support this Patreon. All my different channels are going to have 3 in total when I'm done, up and running. So all basically I'll be pulling from that pot to support those shows. So if you want to support the Patreon, you'll be doing so for each of the channels. So LOL, I gotta watch Scary Movie again, says Navon Wise. Yeah, Scary Movie is still funny. Again, I recently rewatched that. 2 isn't as funny before because there's some references that were very early 2000s timey. So but I remember those references, but I'm sure most people won't. I don't blame you. YouTube is broken sometimes, says Rufus. Yeah, I'm just not even gonna waste my time trying to monetize the videos. Hopefully people will support Patreon, so I don't have to worry about monetizing the videos, which I'm not gonna do. It's just too much pain in the butt. All right, so Scary Movie 2 is the GOAT. You think Scary Movie 2 is the GOAT, really? As in, out of those movies, or just comedies in general, Rufus? Because, I don't know, Scary Movie 2 doesn't hold up as much. Because it's referencing, like, the really big reference is The Haunting, which came out, like, right before that movie. Scary Movie 2. The Haunting remake, because there's a Haunting before that, which is actually a good movie. But The Haunting remake was like a big special effects, pretty garbage remake of The Haunting. I think the original one was like 1958 or something. I can't remember exactly, but why you never tried messing around with Twitch? Well, every time I think about Twitch, Navon Wise, there's an issue. There's people complaining right now about Twitch. But I just got my computer back, and I'm gonna be dual streaming. So I'll be streaming on both once I get my stuff together. Like, I'm working on, like I said, 3 channels to be rolling out, or 2 more anyway to be rolling out. So out of those movies, but Kevin Hart and Anthony Anderson in 4 is my favorite parts. Yeah, Kevin. Like, I don't really care. There's funny stuff in the later movies. In the later scary movies, there's funny segments, and it's usually around like Kevin Hart, like you said, and Anthony Anderson, and some other stuff too. But those movies aren't totally as good as the first 2. What's up, T, says Zeno. What's up, Zeno? Zengetsu. How's it going? All right, so let's get started. Been babbling about movies long enough, but or TV shows and whatnot. But like I said, my TV show movie channel is very imminent. I'm editing the first episode, which is about my favorite movie of all time. And it's hard to pick a favorite movie of all time, but I'm picking this for very specific reasons. So, I mean, it is the movie that made me want to be a filmmaker. So, there's that. All right. Sleepy. Are you sleepy, Sina? You gonna fall asleep on us in here? All right. Thanks everybody for joining. Let's go ahead and get started. All right. So first up, we're gonna talk a little bit more about the direct later on, but I already did a video on it. If you want to check that out, you can check that out. Not right now though. You're gonna stay here and watch my PSP collection, but we'll get into that afterwards, and I'll try to go through this as quickly as possible because there are 70 plus games, as it shows in the thumbnail. So, oh, you just woke up, says Zeno. All right. Morpheus, what's with the emojis? It's T. And then, like, is that a sad face? I don't know. It's like a confused? I don't know. I don't know emojis. All right. So, move that to the side there. Get that out of the way. Don't need that. All right, so I have, I don't know, 72 or so games, 73 for the PSP. PSP was, at the time, especially, my favorite handheld of all time. 3DS probably came along and took that. I always go back and forth, but PSP was like college for me, and it was a great tool because I used to ride the city bus a lot during college. I had a car half the time, and I had car issues, and when you're in college, you don't have the money to fix your car up and all that stuff. So you got to do what you got to do. I was on a bike on the city bus, so I would take my bike, put it on the city bus rack, because the city bus didn't go exactly where you needed it to go. So I get off of it and take my bike the rest of the way. But anyway, the PSP was a great handheld for me at that point because I can ride on the bus and game on my PSP, and it was great. And there was nice variety of types of games and really nice visuals for the PSP, especially at that time. So people talk about the Switch and how it's a handheld with modern graphics, and at the time the PSP was that. It just didn't. It was a little bit more cumbersome to hook up to your TV, but you could do it. I mean, there was a dock, I believe, and there's also I have cables that now, because they recently made cable. Well, not recently. I don't know how recently they are, but sometime in the last few years they made HDMI cables for it, so you can hook them right to your modern television. So. But there's also AV ones out there that Sony put out, so you can hook them up to your not so modern television, your CRTs back in the day. So it's Morpheus says it's sad because we keep missing each other. I know, man. I was thinking about that. We keep missing each other on the game and stuff, but we won't. I guarantee sometime this week I'll hit you up and then we'll be right on point. Video game lover, the PSP, awesome system. It is. Afro Power, GBA, and PSP was great with those enhanced SNES and PlayStation 1 games, remasters, and whatnot. I didn't do too much of that. That was actually, I didn't like as much on the Game Boy Advance, is that it had a lot of like Super Nintendo games. It's kind of cool to play those games on the go. But I was my head at the time was 3D. So I was really into 3D games. I didn't come back around to wanting like 2D experiences until like 2010, 2011 is when I was like, oh, I'm nostalgic for those 2D games now. So right now it's really cool to get into GBA because 2D games are full force coming back, or they've been back for a while. So especially on the indie scene. But so let me just show you here my PSPs. The first one I got, and it's a little rickety now, is this white one here. This was let me do that. This was the Star Wars one. That had the what do you call it? I don't have it anymore because this is a Frankenstein PSP at this point. I was using broken PSPs and whatnot to fix this. So as you can see, the back is the silver PSP and the front is the white. This was the white Darth Vader one that came with the Star Wars Battlefront, and I have Battlefront, and you'll see that later. But I don't have the door and all that stuff anymore because I didn't take care of my handhelds very well at that time, and that's why I don't really have as much as I probably should. I used to trade my handheld stuff a lot. So, but this one is the first one I had, and then I bought another one, which is the silver one, and I had to do the same thing, the platinum one. I think it was a screen issue or whatever. So I again bought it a broken one or one with issues, and got this one. And you can see these are skins on the back. So I forgot what anime this is from, but these are anime skin on the back, and I put the other one, the front part, on this one, just because I don't know, the white when it looked really good when you first got it, boy, did it scratch up and get ugly pretty quickly. So, but this is the one I game on most of the time now. This one works beautifully, and I love this one. And I still game on it today. So yeah, those are my. Let me put them back together here. My PS Pizzles. Those are my PSPs. There you go. All right. Drops one of my cartridges over there. All right, so PSPs to me was the coolest thing ever because, again, you got to remember the time. PSP came out what, 04 or 05? I always forget. I think it was 04. Was it earlier? Was it 03? I don't remember. Somewhere around there. Somebody, I'm sure, will let me know. Bleach. Thank you, Zeno. That's what it is. Bleach. Thank you. What was I saying? Yes. So, for me, especially at the time, again, I was on my bike a lot. I was on this bus. So this bad boy, let me bring it back out again, was my MP3 player. This was my my little, on the go mobile, device, because we didn't have these back then. We didn't have cell phones and all that good stuff. We had cell phones, but we didn't have smartphones that would do all that. Both cell phones back then, all they did was call people, and that was it. They had some light, surfing capabilities, but it was very light as far as internet surfing and whatnot, and it was slow. So PSP, was that, and that's why it beat out the GBA for me, because this was a device I used in multiple ways. This was my first smart device on the go. So you could watch movies, you can listen to music, and you can play games. I don't even remember. Did this have a browser? I feel like it had light browser capabilities. But this was my... Oh, somebody's hitting me up. This was my mobile, smart device. So it was first released in Japan in 04. Okay, that's what I was remembering. Late 04 in Japan. March, 2005. In North America, or everywhere else probably, or around that time. So that makes sense. I should have probably guessed that because of college. That was my second year. No, that was, March was part of my first year. So this was like the perfect device for me at that time. So let's get into just exactly that. First of all, I'll just go over the loosies I got, because I do have some loose titles here that don't come in a case. I see that Navon Wise. This is my Apple phone, my Apple phone, my Apple Watch, and I got notification that Navon just liked my tweet of this episode. All right, so like I said, I got some loosies here, so we'll go through those pretty quickly. I also have loose. Now, the thing I loved about the PSP, like I said, it was just futuristic. I hadn't gotten the Apple products yet. I wasn't on that iPod yet, really. That was just past me. And I was still using my my portable CD player, they listen to music and all that kind of stuff. My Sony Discman. So I was like, well, this is the next thing. Now I can listen to music, multiple songs on my SD card, which, wasn't big enough at the time, even back then, but I did the job. And it was just a really cool thing to me to see these little UMDs. This is like futuristic to me, because when the GameCube came out, Nintendo alluded to the fact that they might, in their next handheld, use those tiny discs for the next handheld. Obviously, they never did that, which is fine. These are pretty dated at this point. But back then, this was so cool and futuristic to me to have these mini discs. And Sony was on that mini disc thing for a while too. Before PSP, they had like a mini disc player. Excuse me. And so it kind of led to these. And this is really smart design, because you have, this is a disc. This is basically a mini DVD inside here. And this is smart design because it covers it up. Only it's like floppy disks for you old folks out there. You know, you have this little strip here that the disc reads from as it spins or whatever. So it protects everything. So you can, you know, you can handle these a little bit better than you could like any mini disc that didn't have a covering. So this was great, and it was so futuristic and cool to me. I also have a Morpheus says I have a pearl white PS3 controller I use for my PSP Go. Oh yeah, I forgot you do have the PSP Go. You mentioned that before. Yeah, some of you guys have PSP Go's. Oh, I didn't know those was as popular. Component cable to connect to my 35 or my 32-inch Sony Trinitron HD CRT. Nice, nice. That's how you do it if you want to do that old school setup, old school gaming. You get that CRT action going. But anyway, this was a very cool, futuristic, very mature looking piece of tech, and I really loved the idea of this. So, and for those of you who don't know, my door is a little sleepy right now, but it's all good. You pop open the door right here. You can see the reader back there. Put your disc in. Oh, now it doesn't want to. See, my door is off the little hinge, but that's the cool thing is that the hinge isn't imperative. Why are you tripping? All right. Close it. Starts to read. It's not as loud as you think it would be, and that's great. I'm gonna turn it on. I'm sure I have a full charge here. See if you can hear it when it turns on. Putting it up to the mic. Was it in sleep? Wake up! What's going on? We back in sleep? Oh. I think I just... Alright, let's try it again. I just put it to sleep. Wait, I can't see my screen. I can hear it. What is going on? Don't tell me my screen died. Alright. I'll have to look at that later. Anyway, so maybe I got the... Let me see. I know this battery's dead, so it's pointless to even... Yeah, that one's dead. I just used this yesterday. Why is my screen, my backlight, not showing up here? Well, that's lame. Alright, I'll look at it later. I'm sure I can figure it out. Anyway, but it was a very cool device, right? And like I said, I mean, it wasn't as portable because these discs are bigger and they're not little cards, and you can't take a total bunch of them, you know, with you. But like I said, if you didn't want to carry cases with you, like these cases, you can just take them in a little. They came, some of they had different carrying cases and whatnot. You can take 3 or 4 or whatever with you, or not 4 usually, 4 to 6, something like that, and then you can game on the go. And like I said, you had music that would be downloaded to your card, so you can listen to music, and you can also bring movies, which I'll show you as well. All right, so let's get into these games and move on. Actually, I have one open here. So this is because you can easily pop open the, take the cover off, the protective cover. I'll just, there you go. So now you can see what the little disc looks like without. This is Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. I don't think I even played this ever. Beautiful. But yeah, I like how cool this little mini disc is. Smaller than GameCube. Alright, put that to the side. Alright, so first up we have Antonio Ed Britt. Alright. No, I'm sure it's fine. I mean, I can hear it, so something wrong with the backlight. Alright, so Silent Hill, Shattered Memories. I'm sure a lot of you guys who are Silent Hill fans know this game. This is a pretty good one. This is also on the Wii, I believe, and PS2, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't played this all that much. I'm pretty sure it's pretty close to the console version. So, MLB, just plain old MLB. And there's a series, I don't know who makes this. I can't remember who makes it. Is it Sony that makes this? Yeah, it's Sony, I believe. And they just named some games like MLB and NBA, and that was it. They didn't put a year or anything on these games. So this one is just MLB. I don't know if they thought they were only going to have, one sport game for the system, and they didn't realize that it would get supported as well as it did. And that's the thing about PSP. It really got supported really well by third parties. All right. Here is, Bust a Move. Which one is this? Bust a Move Deluxe. Bust a Move Deluxe. There you go. All right. Make some room here. Prince of Persia, The Forgotten Times. Forgotten Time, right? Forgotten Sands. Forgotten Time. I'm thinking Sands of Time. That's why. Prince of Persia, Forgotten Sands. This is also, I believe this is pretty different from the console version, from what I remember. I haven't played this in forever, but I got stuff in my eye. Great. But yeah, I think that's pretty different. Here's some really good games. Do I have them both? Because there's two of them. Where's the other one? Where's the other one? I wanted to show them together. Alright, so dud. Maybe I'll find it in a minute. The Untold Legends games, really good on PSP. Action RPGs, very good. This one's Warriors Code, and I have the other one as well. Here's Fight Night, round 3. You can see there's tape on this one, but that's fine. It still works just fine. But the main thing is you got to have this thing closed. It doesn't matter that this tape, like I said, there's tape hanging off the side of this one because I couldn't get it to pop back into place. But it's still, all it has to do is read this part. So it's not like it spins the whole thing. So that's fine. Works just fine. Here's one of my faves. Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast. Really good game. Really good racing game for you Sega fans out there. You know that one? SpongeBob SquarePants, The Yellow Avenger. Fun little platformer, but action adventure game. SpongeBob. Madden 08. I love playing Madden on PSP. It's one of my favorite things to do, especially like on the bus, like I said. And you can put the PSP to sleep if you didn't finish your game and come back to it. So that was cool. Cool feature. The DS also could do that. You just close it, and it go to sleep. So I love playing sports games on PSP because PSP was great for grindy type of things where you can play whole seasons or RPGs, which we'll see some of later. All right, Super Collapse. Puzzle games were also one of my favorite things to play on. Let's see if we can get it there. On PSP. I love playing puzzle games on any handheld, so I feel like puzzle games are great on handhelds. Alright, Madden 07. I know I have the case for at least Madden 07, so I don't know where it is. But, yeah, there's another Madden game. You know what that's about. Alright, here's a good one. Power Stone. Yes, this is the exact game. Is a port of the Dreamcast game. I never owned it personally. Power Stone Dreamcast game. My friend Anthony, who's the one who talked me into buying a Saturn, talked me into buying a Dreamcast because I was mad at Sega after Saturn, so I wasn't gonna buy it. But he talked me into it. So he had the game. I played at his house all the time. And when I went around to, I want to buy that. It's not as fun one player. Obviously, it's way more fun multiplayer, but when I went to buy this game for my Dreamcast, it was way expensive and it's way cheaper on PSP, so I did that. Alright, and here is Crash of the Titans. one of those crash games, 3D crash games that came out after Activision pretty much took over. So this one's kind of mediocre, but still cool to play. Oh yeah, Grand Theft Auto, Vice City Stories. There's Vice City Stories and there's Liberty City Stories. I bought this because it was so cool. And I know I have the case for this because I bought this, not brand new, but I bought it from GameStop. It was very cool to see a console game like Grand Theft Auto on a handheld, and that just blew me away. And I will buy games, like that all the time, just because I'm cool. I think the tech is awesome to have like this big full console game, and it was a big open world, just like obviously there weren't as many people walking around, that kind of stuff, but it was Liberty City, it was Vice City on both of these games. It was just like the city was the same as the console. All right, 300. This game's kind of meh. It's based on the movie, obviously. It's a hack and slash, kind of meh, mediocre license game. Army of Two. I'm sure you guys know Army of Two. This game was super hyped. Not the PSP one, but the console version was super hyped and kind of fizzled out. That's EA, right? That's probably why. Yep, EA. All right. Now these games I got in a lot, which is when I say a lot I mean LOT, which is I bought them on probably eBay, maybe Amazon, and they were very cheap, and they came in these basically reproduction covers or whatnot, and these are garbage. These do not work in your PSP. The game is fine, the disc is fine, but these reproduction plastic covers for UMDs, it will not work in here. So I have to pop these out and put them into a regular UMD cover, plastic cover, for it to work. The games will work fine, but these reproductions don't work. Doesn't want to work. Assassin's Creed Bloodlines. This was actually a really pretty good Assassin's Creed game for PSP. It didn't give you like the huge open world setting, but it mimicked Assassin's Creed pretty well. I felt like I was playing Assassin's Creed when I played this game, so that's pretty good. Let me see. Okay, you guys aren't really saying anything that I missed there. So that's cool. Hopefully Sony will. Afro Power says hopefully Sony will do a PSP, PSX, PS2, and Vita hybrid console in the future, where people can put in their original game disc. Yeah, I wouldn't count on that. But there's stuff like what is the console coming out soon called the Polymega, which is a third-party company that's doing stuff like that. So that's where I would expect to see something like that. I don't know about PSP though. I don't know if anybody's going to make a drive that will fit PSP games outside of what Sony has done. So maybe some third-party company will. I don't know. We'll see. All right, so like I said, this is I thought it was a movie for a minute. Ghost Rider, the game, again generic. Back then especially, licensed games, especially like superhero licensed games, weren't the best. So they were still trying to figure that out. Here's a movie, National Treasure. This came in that lot. So everyone that you see with this weird kind of UMD covering came in that lot. And I guess they were all refurbished, but these stupid plastic cases do not work. So this is the movie National Treasure 2. Triple X, the movie. This is the first one, right? Yeah. Vin Diesel. Triple X movie. UMD. NFL Street 3 with Chad Ochocinco. Chad Johnson. Alright. Madden 06. I got all the Maddens, man. This one, again, is the lot. Came in that lot. And it doesn't work. But I can take, like I said, I pop it out, put it in a regular PSP cover, and it'll work fine. So the disc is fine. It's just the PSP doesn't like these plastic covers. Kingdom of Heaven came in that lot. I mean, it's not like I cared about that. The movie wasn't that great. Charlie's Angels. Certainly didn't care about this. Came in the lot. These are all from that lot, I believe. Longest Yard. God of War came in that lot as well. Ghost of Sparta. I think there's 2 God of War games on PSP. I had them both at one time, but like I said, I traded a lot of stuff and I went back and bought stuff. So, Rainbow Six Vegas. This is a game. I never played it. Disney GeForce. Don't even know what that is. In Just One Play. This is like a coaching simulator. Alright. And there's one more in here. And it looks like Barbershop the movie. Barbershop. And it came in that lot. Obviously it has that weird casing. So it's not, white UMD casing. And that means it's not the real one. It's not the original. And so I guess somebody tried to mimic it, trying to refurb these games or whatever, and make their own case, or maybe a third party. I don't know, but they don't work. None of them. I tried to run all of them, and none of them work. So, all right, let's close that up and get it out of the way, and let's get into the UMD movies I have in a case. Zeno, isn't G-Force that spy hamster or guinea pig movie? That does sound familiar, Zeno. I don't remember. So that's probably right, though. I think that is right. All right, so the rest of my UMD movies, I don't have a lot of them anymore. They're super cheap to buy. If you want to collect for PSP, UMD movies are cake to buy. I'm so surprised that they were able to get movies onto UMDs, and they just barely get the movie on there. So, how DVDs and Blu-rays have special features. UMDs rarely had anything of worth. This is Friday Night Lights, pretty good movie about, I think it's Texas high school football. I'm not mistaken, it's Texas. And it has special features called, the special features is action-packed deleted scenes. So it did actually get some deleted scenes onto this thing, but these were, I want to say UMDs were about the size of GameCube discs, like maybe 1.2 gigs or something like that. I can't remember exactly. I don't think it says on the back or anything. But so they had to really compress movies to get them on here. But now on UMD for PSP, I mean, they really tried to push UMDs, which was cool. I mean, it was a really cool thing, and there was a lot of people with PSPs. I think PSP sold 80 million units, so Sony was trying to get people to buy movies for the PSP, but that didn't really take off. But they made a lot of them because Sony is a movie studio as well, so they had a lot of connections. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. This is great. So you're thinking UMD, you're looking at below DVD quality. Not too bad, but then you're looking on a small screen, so it doesn't look as bad. But if you try to put it on your TV, like if you try to watch UMDs blown up on your TV, not great. But this is a good movie, though. Very good movie. Sandlot 1 and 2. I'm sure I got these in a lot as well, because I love the Sandlot. I never even watched Sandlot 2 because I heard it wasn't anything good, but I'm sure I got these in a movie lot or something, just because I wanted some movies, because I didn't have any anymore because I sold a lot of it. Zathura, I don't think I even seen this, so let's see if I can. There you go. Zathura, some kind of kids movie, action movie with sci-fi elements. Hollow Man, I remember watching this on the plane. This is a really good movie. This is The Invisible Man. You know that movie that came out not too long ago? The Invisible Man came out earlier this year. This was that. You know, the stalker guy who was invisible. That's this. I mean, this is all based on the old Invisible Man movie anyway. So yeah, so Invisible Stalker with Kevin Bacon and Elizabeth Shue. That movie's about 20 years old now. Ice Age, I did also watch on UMD. Good movie there. There's way too many of them, and they get worse and worse. All right, so let's get into what you came for, which is the games. So I'm going to go, because I have these two here, and as you can see, these are GameStop used cases. Let's see, I think it's pronounced Jeanne d'Arc. Basically, based on the historical figure Joan of Arc, and Joanna Dark in Perfect Dark is actually named after her. So, in case you didn't know that, yeah, Joanna Dark is named after Joan of Arc, which is Jeanne d'Arc. So, I'm not French, but that's the best I can do. But this is a really good RPG. This is a hidden gem, I believe, on PSP. I just lucked into getting this game. I want to get it complete in the case, but I think it's expensive now. So, Polo Polo Koi, I don't remember. This is an RPG, I'm sure. I can't remember this game too much. But this is also, I think this is also getting up there in price. But I can't remember it too well, so I can't really tell you about it. All right, now here's a series that I surprised it's still around. It was a big series for PlayStation and Sony back in the PS2 days, and they really didn't, because I don't think there's any on PS3. And this is a big series. It really sold Sony's online, I believe, during the PS2. And that is the SOCOM series. This is Fireteam Bravo. I like the SOCOM games. I played one on PSP. I can't remember which one it was, but I played them a lot more on. I said PSP. I meant, did I say PSP or PS2? On PS2, and but I played them a lot on PSP. So here's Fireteam Bravo. This one is basically not in the case as well, because it's the wrong case. That's why I flipped it. But this is a sequel, Tactical Strike. And, they're third-person shooters, and they were pretty popular. I don't know what happened to this series, but Zathura was a spiritual successor to Jumanji at the time, says Zeno. Hollow Man is now a classic, Morpheus says. I love Hollow Man. Only because Liz Shue is my other wife. But no, it's a good movie. All right. And I think I kind of split these up into genres as best as I could, so you'll see a lot of stuff similar. That's on my tongue there. All right, Killzone Liberation. Everybody knows Killzone series. Was a big. Was it on PS? It had to be. Yeah, it had to be on PS2. I'm not a huge follower or gamer of the Killzone games, but I know Killzone 2 was that infamous demo for PS3. Right? Was it Killzone 2? That was all bunk. It was them fluffing. It was them bullshotting. But this is in that series. But this is a kind of top-down-ish kind of shooter, which I really like this. I think this is pretty good. And I guess they didn't feel like they could do a first-person shooter on PSP in the Killzone universe well enough, because it only had that one nub. There was no dual analog and stuff. So, but this is good. I like this a lot. This is a pretty good third-person shooter, or not third-person, because like I said, it was kind of over top, isometric. Love my SOCOM games. Huge fan. I didn't like the PS2 ones as much. Love the PS1 SOCOM games. You'll see that, I'm sure, in the future in my PS1 collection. But SOCOM, this is Logan Shadow. I think this is the second one that came out on PSP. And I also have Dark Mirror. I have Dark Mirror twice because I have a sealed copy of Dark Mirror. This came with the system, I feel like. This came with one of the systems, I think. but I'm not sure. But anyway, I have 2 copies of Dark Mirror for some reason. I don't know. Must have bought a lot again, and an extra one came. That happens a lot. So I usually, will try to sell my duplicates at some point. And here's Battlefront. This came with the PSP. It didn't come in a cartridge, or didn't come in a case or anything. I just threw it in this third-party one. But this is, as you can see, Battlefront. This is the one I got with the white PSP. Okay, and then we have Coated Arms. This is a really good first-person shooter on PSP, and it does a really good job of not, getting around the not having a dual analog. Or see, N64, I love N64 first-person games, but because it had the C buttons that worked as strafing buttons, so for me that felt like mouse and keyboard almost, where you had the arrow buttons on your keyboard, you strafe and whatnot, move left and right, forward and back, and PSP doesn't have that. It only has 4 forward action buttons. So, but this did a really good job at giving you a first-person shooter on a handheld. And when did this come out? It said it come out like 05 or 06. That was pretty amazing at the time. All right. How do you say Invisimals? I almost said Connectimals. Invisimals. This is one of the first, at least I can remember, AR games, augmented reality games, where you use the PSP camera. I have that somewhere. I couldn't find it in time for the video, but you hook up the PSP camera, and it works like the 3DS worked. Where you did augmented reality using the cards, and this came with, I think I still have it. Yeah, there it is. The little, you would sit this down, and the camera would recognize this, and you would get 3D Invisimals that would show up, and you could battle and do all kinds of stuff. But this was alright. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool idea. So this beat Nintendo to the augmented reality stuff, in case you didn't know. Alright, and then we have Buzz Quizmaster. I'm pretty sure I got this in a lot because I was not looking for this game. But, I mean, it's alright. It's a pop culture quiz show game based on the mid-2000s. And there's earlier stuff than that, but just pop culture, TV and movies and music. But this is way more fun to play with more people. So it's more of a fun multiplayer game than it is by yourself, obviously. And now we're getting into puzzly stuff. Smart Bomb. This is a pretty cool, puzzle game based on, it's timing based, where you have to solve the puzzle before the bomb goes off, kind of thing. So Exit, Speed, Strategy, Survival. This game reminds me of like Spy vs. Spy or something like that. It's not really like that, but you're traversing these levels and one screen and whatnot, and you're having this kind of figure out these puzzles and stuff. You have to rescue people, I believe. It's kind of, you have to find hostages and stuff like that. So it's all right, pretty good. My Spanish Coach. This is not a game. This is an app. Before people call them that, this is an application, and it helped you learn Spanish. Now, this was a great tool to have, along with, because I had Spanish in, was it middle school? Not middle school. I don't think I had it in middle school. I definitely had it in high school and in college. So this was a really good thing to have along with my learning in college. So and this was a really practical way of teaching you Spanish. A lot of ways better than you would learn from a book and stuff, because it was like practical applications. So I still use this. Actually, my daughter uses this now because she's in what do they call it? Dual language, where she learns from a Spanish teacher half the day and English half the day. So they call it dual language because I want her to be fluent, and they said in this program she'd be fluent by high school. So that's awesome. So she uses this as well. She loves it. All right. Mercury. Archer McLean's Mercury. This is a physics-based puzzle game. Just think of, you're this blob of mercury rolling around, these, physics-based puzzles getting to the end, getting to declaring and solving a little thing. I'm trying to think of, there's games like on the Wii and whatnot. I think they got ported to the Switch. That's kind of similar, a World of Goo, but not really. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like World of Goo. But yeah, this is really good and really nice graphics and physics. And I believe it's like 60 frames. It's really smooth looking as you're traveling around. So, let's see. Mr. E, what's up, T? It's S Real. Oh, okay. With the name change, just stopping by. What's up, S Real? Or excuse me, Mr. E. What's up? Afro Power. Sony stopping SOCOM is dumb, but they are dumb with their other IPs like Medieval, Siphon Filter, Parappa, Genji, etc. Yeah, people give Nintendo a lot of crap for not renewing their IPs. They have all these IPs and back in the day and whatnot, but at least they have the staple ones that stay, and eventually, occasionally, they'll bring out some of the older stuff. But Sony completely abandoned stuff that I like, and at this point, they don't have an IP that I care about outside of maybe Uncharted, and I'm kind of over Uncharted at this point. I like Lost Legacy a lot, but that's my problem with Sony. Like you're saying there, Apple Power, Medieval, Siphon Filter obviously is done. Parappa the Rapper, Genji, they just don't. I can go into Ratchet and Clank and Sly Cooper. Well, Ratchet and Clank is actually still around. I meant to say Sly Cooper and Jack and Daxter. That's the one I was thinking about. Jack and Daxter. Naughty Dog doesn't care about Jack and Daxter anymore. So I'm knocking my camera over here. Let me put it back. Whoops. All right. But yeah, that's my issue with Sony at this point. All right. Extend every extra. This is a real. I'm trying to remember the game that it reminds me of. But this is another kind of time-based puzzler. Let's. I'm trying to. Maybe they can explain it better than I can. Not really. Extend yourself to an unknown universe where your only chance is to. You just kind of have to play this because there's another game. I don't think I've had here coming up. Maybe no. That's some Dreamcast. That's hard for me to explain. I play it. I love it, but it's hard for me to explain how the puzzle game aspect works. Here's two of my favorites. Lumines. If you haven't played Lumines, get Lumines on Switch because it's on Switch digitally and physically. I believe they're physical now. But these are great. It's a port of this. It's an HD port of this to the Switch. These are great puzzlers. I have 1 and 2. Love these. Love the music and the visuals and the kind of rhythm. This isn't a rhythm-based game or anything, but it just has that kind of feel to it. So yeah, 1 and 2, they're both great. All right, let me move those out of the way. Now we're moving on to more action stuff, I think. All right, I still haven't gotten that in the sequel, but Pursuit Force. This is a hidden gem. Pursuit Force is great. If you old like me, the best way to characterize this is like the cop show T.J. Hooker on steroids. Like if you've seen T.J. Hooker, that's the cop show that oh my gosh, what's his name from James T. Kirk? What's his real name? Star Trek, the original Captain Kirk. I can't remember his name. Anyway, he had a cop show where he was a beat cop basically, and he would do all these crazy diving on cars, outlandish stuff. But this game is all about driving down the highway at full speed, jumping from car to car, shooting the bad guys, and just switching cars, just jumping and doing these action sequences where it's just like action sequence after action sequence, and you're jumping from vehicles, like basically like caravans of bad guys, and taking them out, and then they have boss battles. Like you get to like the big rig, boss battle. This is pretty cool. This is a very cool game, highly underrated, unforgotten. I don't think it's on anything else. It's only on PSP as far as I know. And it has a sequel too, and I haven't gotten that. I'm gonna get that for the collection anyway. So really good. I mean, Twisted Metal, you know what Twisted Metal is, head on. Uh, uh, this is this a port of the PS2 game? See, I can't remember. But I feel like Head On is. I don't know if this is only on PSP. But anyway, Twisted Metal, you know, it's this car combat. You know what that is, so all good. MotorStorm, Arctic Edge. MotorStorm is another Sony IP that they just completely forgot about. There was some really good MotorStorm games. This is one of them. The graphics, again, the visuals on the PSP, especially for their time, were just great. And I was graphics hoeing on my handheld for sure. And that's probably why I chose. That's one of the reasons I like the PSP better than the DS as far as on-the-go gaming and whatnot, because it was a really good showcase piece. It's like people would look over your shoulders and really be like, "Oh my god, they have a handheld that could put out graphics like that." And you know, it was pretty spectacular back in those days. So, I mean, Need for Speed, Most Wanted. I mean, you know what this is. Really good. There's a ton of really good racing games. I don't like to buy racing games as much on PSP, but there are some really good ones that I do have, like this one, because again, visually they look really nice on the little screen and whatnot. But usually I get my racers on console, so but they are fun to play on PSP. And speaking of which, Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. I mean, these games are so good, so popular back in the day. This is Rockstar. When Rockstar did more than just Grand Theft Auto. And they do Red Dead once in a while as well, too. But, you know, they did the Grand Theft Auto games and they figured, oh, we can make a racing game because we have elements of that in our game. So, and that's what I really liked about Grand Theft Auto 2 a lot back in those days, because you got those really souped up cars with the giant rims and all that stuff. Really fun. So, Mr. E, never heard of Coated Arms. How many titles in the franchise were there? I believe there's only 2. I believe there's Coated Arms, and then I don't know if it's called Coated Arms 2 or it's just as a subtitle. But yeah, those are highly recommended for me. Trust me, really good first-person shooters on the PSP. Wipeout Pure. This is. Why is this sealed? Because I don't have all my games here. Then this is also sealed. But I have Wipeout Pure loose, so I haven't opened this. This came in a lot. I'm sure I bought it in a lot. And I said, oh, whatever. I'll just leave it sealed because I have Wipeout Pure loose already. So, very good. I mean, what should I say about Wipeout? This is a great series. So, love this game. Sega Rally Evo. Or Revo. This is one of those showcase games, I think, on PSP, where the graphics are really nice and really good controls. Everything is great. Sega did a lot of really good racing games. Metropolis Street Racer, which I believe became the Forza series, because before that it was Metropolis Street Racer, and then what was the series before it became Forza? I can't remember the name of it right now, but yeah, this is really good. And you saw Hot Shots last time I showed like my favorite games on systems and whatnot, so I showed you Hot Shots. This is also, I have loose, I have one loose, and so I have this. I got this for like $6 a couple years ago, and $6, I think, free shipping. They were giving these things away. But the Hot Shots games I love, and that's why I got it. I have one already loose, and so now I have this. I'm going to open it because I want to play Hot Shots Tennis. I never played Hot Shots Tennis before, and so I won't open T because I have that one already. But Open T 2 I will open because I haven't played it yet. So, and I like Hot Shots. Let's see. Afro Power. I am selling a DJ Max game in your collection. Oh, smelling. Selling. Smelling a DJ Max game. We'll see. I know you have Monster Hunter game in that PSP cache somewhere. Let me guess, it's Freedom Unite, isn't it? Mystery. We shall see. All right, so like I was saying, the generic titles for the Sony 989 sports games. I showed you MLB before. Here's NBA. It's just NBA. It's like they knew this was their last game or something. Because 989 sports isn't a thing anymore. But this was Sony's like sports. They were pretty big on the PS1. This is their sports studio, 989. They made what was it called? Game Day. I think they made the Game Day series, the football series that was challenging Madden back then. So, but yeah, I think they died off pretty much around this time. And then we have SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. I'm sure you guys know what this is. I don't need to explain this, but here it is: SmackDown vs. Raw wrestling game. It's okay. I mean, wrestling games haven't been as good since the N64 ones. Those are the great ones. So I still buy them occasionally though. NBA Live 10, really good basketball game. Because there weren't, at least I don't remember, but this is a really good. I played the crap out of this. This came out in 2009. This is the last year of college for me, and it's the year I met my wife. So that's why I remember this so well. But yeah, I played this a lot, just chilling on the couch and whatnot too. So I like the grind in those basketball games. Full seasons, total seasons. Same thing with baseball. Here you go with Major League Baseball 2000 or 2K7 from the 2K guys, and they did baseball. They did all this stuff better to me than EA did with the Live series, and they took them over in baseball and basketball. So these are all really good games, and they don't do them anymore. Because there's only the show now. This is back when we had a bunch of companies making sports games. Now we have one or two. And this is MLB The Show. And this is the only company still making, or this is the only series, franchise, that still makes baseball games. And Sony owns them. But they are going to be making for all the consoles. MLB is, so the show is, so. All right, moving on to my last and tallest stack. Right? Yeah, pretty much. Lords of Arcana. This is a decent RPG. I'm surprised not many people know about this. I thought it was pretty good. Really good visuals. I like the battle system in this. It's a good game. And it's made by Square, right? Yeah, it's a Square Enix, so it has a good what do you call it? Pedigree, and nothing fantastic, but still pretty solid. I would probably call it a hidden gem. I think it is. This isn't Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. This came out around the time of Dirge of Cerberus, that wonderful, amazing CGI movie from Final Fantasy era, because they were just, even up till now, Final Fantasy VII, they just love to milk that game like it's the best, and to me it's not, but a lot of people love Final Fantasy VII. They go crazy over Cloud and all those characters. So anyway, all right, Final Fantasy Tactics. This is a port to some degree of the PS1 game. There's added stuff in this. I think there's new characters, some new worlds, or new, how do you say, I guess, levels. And there's new cutscenes in this, right? I think there's new CGI cutscenes that the PlayStation 1 game didn't have. But I'm a fan of that one, so I also picked this up. Because I like to see, console games on a handheld. It's just, to me, it's a pretty cool thing, and that leads up to my, my love of the Switch. So, Lord of the Rings Tactics. It is what it sounds like. It's a tactics-based RPG in the Lord of the Rings settings. It's okay. It's not great. It's not bad. I got through it. pretty quickly, I think, back in the day. So, but it's all right. It's pretty good. Oh, EA did license that. I was wondering. All right. Okay, yeah, good. I thought I was missing something here. All right, Metal Gear Acid. Since we're on that tactical strategy stuff, this is not your typical Metal Gear game. This is a more of like a. Oh my god, I just had it. I keep wanting to say SOCOM, but what's the tactic strategy game that Mario plus Rabbids kind of aped off of, and it's now on Switch. Just came out on Switch, the collection or whatever, and I cannot remember. But this is that type of grid-based tactical RPG with Metal Gear characters, obviously. Crisis Core made me hate Cloud, says Zeno. Yeah, no, Crisis Core is amazing, man. What are you talking about? All right, now here is your your traditional Metal Gear Solid game, Peace Walker. I didn't finish this. I always start Metal Gear games, but they don't hold me. But I always end up buying them. I don't know what it is. And it's kind of embarrassing because my son actually beat Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater on his 3DS or his 2DS, and I haven't beaten that game. My 10-year-old, and he beat it when he was 7, so I'm a little embarrassed about that. But I don't know. Metal Gear games don't hold me yet. I always seem to buy them. I don't know why. The Third Birthday. I talked about this one before. This is the sequel to Parasite Eve. And I don't know why they couldn't call it Parasite Eve 2. Because that would be more understanding for fans of that game, which I was a fan of that game. And luckily I came across this game and figured out that it was a sequel to Parasite Eve. So there you go. It's called The Third Birthday. It's strange. But it's a good game. It's a really good game. Definitely a must-buy if you have a PSP. If you want to collect for it. And I don't think it's that expensive either, for some reason, because maybe just a lot of people don't know. Like I said, this is a sequel to Parasite Eve, and it's good. It's a good game. And what's this game? Oh, it's Monster Hunter Freedom. So yes, I do have Monster Hunter Freedom. This is the first place I played Monster Hunter, and I will tell you, I bought Monster Hunter back then because it was, it was kind of popular. People talked about it. A lot of people loved Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter kicked my behind. I did not understand Monster Hunter when I first bought this game. And I played it for maybe 20 hours, this one. And I really didn't come back to it. And then, the sequel came out, Monster Hunter Freedom 2. And people talked about this game again. I was like, well, let me give it another shot. This is the one where I started to figure out Monster Hunter. And I really started playing more. And then Monster Hunter Ultimate got me over the edge as far as being a Monster Hunter fan. So that's where it started. That's how my Monster Hunter history goes. I kept pushing. Some people don't do that. Like, they'll play a game, it doesn't work out, they're done, they move on. But I tried to come back, and I did. I came back around, and sometimes that happens. You're just not in a place to where you want to play a certain type of game, and then you come back to it later, and you figure it out. It's almost like when you're working on a car, and you're stuck, and you're just nothing's happening. You leave it alone for a little bit, you come back to it, and then you're like, oh, that's what I need to do. So that's what happened with Monster Hunter for me. So, yeah. WTF doesn't stand for what you think. It stands for, I can't remember, work time fun. This is a quirky, weird game. This is, I would call this Sony's version of WarioWare. Like, there's a lot of little mini game things, little quick, little weird things that pop up. It's very much wanting to be WarioWare. See if you can see some screens on the back here. Is it gonna focus? There you go. So, as you can see, work time fun. Join the super fun job game. yeah, so it's kind of hard to explain, but if you know WarioWare, you get the idea. It's just these little mini, quirky, little crazy pop up mini game things. And here we have Fat Princess, Fistful of Cake. Really good humor in this game. It's not a great game or anything. I like how colorful it is. It's fun to me. Fat Princess. That's another. Could you call this a Sony franchise? Not really, right? Because there's only 2 games, and I think one of them's a port. So I think the PS3 or was it PS4 got a port of this. Anyway, I think it's PS3. Uh, Fat Princess. I think Fat Princess was actually one of the characters in the ill-fated PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. I believe Fat Princess was in that game. I never played it, but I believe she was one of the characters you can choose from. One of the Sony characters. And they don't care about Fat Princess at all. They moved on from her, along with a lot of other Sony IPs. So, me and my Katamari. This is the first Katamari game I played. A lot of people were back then crazy about Katamari on PS2. I never played it there, but I remember all the commercials and G4. Everybody on there was in love with Katamari, so I picked it up on PSP. Liked it a lot. I got the remaster for Switch also, so really fun game. It's you play this character. This is another quirky, crazy Japanese game. You play as this character, and you're basically cleaning up the level, and you're making like a ball of trash. And when you're done with that ball of trash, you shoot it into the sky, and it becomes a star. Like it's strange, but it's funny. It's funny, and it has a really good sense of humor and a fun game to play. And they're fun. Like I said, they're fun games. And there's another game made by Sega that was similar that I did like a lot, and that is on GameCube called Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. Very similar premise. Instead of the ball of trash that gets bigger and bigger, you're rolling an egg around, and it gets bigger and bigger the more stuff you run over and stuff like that. So I like that concept, obviously. Pixel Junk Monsters. I love Pixel Junk Monsters. This is a kind of a tower defense game where you're defending your people from oncoming monsters, and you're setting up turrets. Tower defense game. And this is a really fun one. I love the visuals in this. I love the kind of there's like a kind of dark humor to it in a way. Almost kind of like Pikmin has this dark humor to it. But yeah, I love this game. Got the sequel on Switch. I love that one as well. Probably like it more than the first one. But great games. If you're into tower defense type of games, which occasionally I am. I don't buy a ton of them, but I do like them. And this one is great. This series is great. Pixel Junk Monsters. And here's another tower defense game. Worms Armageddon. Right? This is Armageddon. Oh, Open Warfare, not Armageddon. This is Open Warfare. I'm thinking of Armageddon on Dreamcast, which I have. It's a again tower defense game. They're all pretty similar. Obviously, Worms has its own humor and all that kind of stuff and visuals and stuff, but these are good. I like the Worms games. Loco Roco, another game that I didn't show in my loose games, but this is a sealed copy. I also have it loose. That's why I haven't opened this. But Loco Roco, I love this game. This is a puzzle platformer, and you're all these little balls, and you can become bigger. These little spherical orange creature things, and you can split up to do tasks, and you have to be big to open certain things, and it's really clever and cute as hell and just fun, and I love it. Great game, Loco Roco. This is another one. This is certainly a hidden gem on PSP. Tikobot. Is it Tikobot? Tokobot. Tokobot. This is a game that in some ways reminds me of Pikmin, but also of like, oh my gosh, just came out again on Switch. 100. Wonderful 101. Jeez, I can't think. This light is burning my brain. Wonderful 101. So you have these characters, these Tokobots, you collect, and they follow you around, and you can morph into different objects and bigger robots and stuff like that. So that's where the element of like Wonderful 101 comes into play, and you can form different machines and all this kind of very cool, super underrated. This is a hidden gem. Get this game on PSP if you have a PSP and you're looking for games to buy and you're looking for different experiences. This is very good. Nice visuals and soundtrack and very cool mechanics. I love this game. Tokobot. Another game I love. Ape Escape on the Loose. Ape Escape is just, it's cool. It's the game that introduced the Sony to DualShock, dual analog on PS1. And this game is dope. It's fun. It's funny. It's a barrel of monkeys. What can I say? Ape Escape is cool. It's cool. And people tend to call these platformers, anytime you have a game where it's like colorful, cartoony characters, people automatically call it a platformer. It's not a platformer. This is more of a puzzle-based action-adventure game. So that's how I look at it. Death Jr. This is Death Jr. You play as Death, but little. This is like Psychonauts, kind of Tim Burton-esque, Grim Fandango kind of art style. Love that stuff. But this is a really good action. Again, there's some platforming in it. It's not a platformer. This is a action kind of mascot kind of based action mascot game, and it's really good. Love this series. This is a series. I don't know if this is on consoles or not. This one specifically, but I know the sequel to this is on the Wii. I have that, and I love that as well. The controls in the Wii one are better because you do kind of need, I don't want to say need dual analog, but the game could benefit from it. But once you get used to the controls, it's fine the way it is. And the graphics are really nice. Again, very nice graphics in this game. I love the art style of this game, so check it out. I keep getting notifications on my Apple Watch. All right, we're down to the last two, believe it or not. Ratchet and Clank Size Matters. This is one of the games that was bundled in. This copy isn't. There is, I believe, there's a ton of these. And I think you could probably get this game very cheap if you don't have it, because it did come bundled with a lot of PSPs back in the day. And I think it came in like a sleeve inside the your PSP box with the PSP. So there's a ton of these out there. This is Greatest Hits, obviously. It's sold. I think Greatest Hits on PSP was 200,000 or more copies, if I'm not mistaken. So that's all you needed to be Greatest Hits, which is still, that's a lot, especially for a handheld. In those days, it was not as, handhelds weren't as huge as they are now, but the margins were great because, there weren't games that took too much development time. Those consoles were very easy to program for, the technology and whatnot. So selling 100,000 copies of a game on a handheld, that was like greatness. You can start a whole new division with the profits from that. So, but this is Ratchet and Clank. You know what it is. So, I think Ratchet and Clank Size Matters is a port from the console versions. I'm not sure if Lost Frontier is. This is Jak and Daxter Lost Frontier. I never played it on console, but it's probably either been ported, because I think this was started off as a PSP game, but I think it's been ported later to PS2. But Jak and Daxter, you know what to expect. This is the more attitude Jak from not like the first Jak game. This is after Naughty Dog felt like he had to have an attitude and he had to be a little darker, a little edgier, So they started like drawing him like, look at his face, look how intense he is. Jak is on the cover. Even Daxter has like this kind of mean mugging, because I don't know, they don't have they didn't have the faith in the cartoonier stuff, and that's why they're doing way non-cartoony stuff right now with the Last of Us series. That's what Naughty Dog does now. So obviously Uncharted too, but they don't do like mascot games anymore. They're too artsy and above that now to do that anymore. So what adds? I think I have a little bit of bias toward Naughty Dog for that because they feel like they're above making these types of games anymore, like Crash Bandicoot and stuff. They were probably forced into making a new mascot game when it came to PS2 because they wanted to do more edgier stuff back then, I'm sure. But Sony was like, you better make us a mascot game for our new console. But yeah, that's it. Wow, I'm surprised I went through it so quickly. Because this is 70-something games. I showed you UMDs and showed you my PSP systems. Let's see if this thing's going to turn on now or not. Because this is annoying to me. I can hear it, but I can't see it. Why are you doing this to me? I don't want to have to open you up, but I will. It's probably just the ribbon cable. I don't know. Let me see if the I'm trying to say the light is on. Let me see if the screen is actually showing. And it's just the backlight. No, there's no. The screen isn't lit up at all. So, but I'm not worried. I'm not worried about it. I know I can fix it. All right. But yeah, that's it. That's my PSP collection. All 70 plus games. I think it was 72. And now it will definitely fix it. Throw it against the wall a few times. It will definitely fix it. Is it a live? Mystery says, yeah, it's working. You can hear it. I'm going to put it up to the mic. You can hear it reading. Oh no, now it's I think it started the game. I'm going to restart it. Right now it doesn't want to. Power down. Dead air. Dead air. My PSP is dead, says Antonio Barbosa. Mine might be as well. No. Yeah, I'm just going to pop it open. See if it's a loose ribbon cable or something. It's probably what it is. I mean, I was just playing it like yesterday. Was that yesterday? Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not going to try to repair it on air. All right. So, let me take this out because it's going to keep reading. If I don't stop it, it's going to keep making that little sound. I can't turn on. All right. So, you guys may or may not have seen my video on the Direct Mini, which was whack. It wasn't good, And some people were saying, oh, it was good because Shin Megami Tensei. I'm a fan of Shin Megami Tensei. I played Nocturne in 2005 or something. And, played it on PS2, beat it. I know I still have the game. And, it was fine. I liked it. And so they're going to be remastering it. So that's why I'm saying I'm not overly excited about it. And I say the same thing as when it comes to Nintendo games. Like, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition just came out. I don't own it. I already have the game twice. I'm going to get it. But I'm not going to it's not overly exciting for me to play that game again. Jesus. Gotta turn off these notifications. So I'm not like in a hurry to go get it. So you have that announcement, which was a good announcement, that they're remastering that game because it is a good game, and then the announcement for Shin Megami Tensei 5, which was kind of disappointing because we've already been waiting so long for the game. It's one of the first Switch games we knew about. They talked about it like at the January event. Then they showed that little trailer for that game at the January event. And let me take my watch off because the homies are chatting it up in the Hangouts and it's distracting. So, I have to wait. I'm glad it's still coming, obviously, but I'm not gonna like give them credit for it still coming because we haven't had any information on it. But I would like to play that game, but I'm gonna have to wait probably another year, if not more, from now. Antonio says he didn't even watch the direct live. That's a first for me. Yeah, I mean, because leading up to it, it got less and less exciting as you were hearing things about it being a mini, and then hearing about it being a third-party mini. Not that there's anything wrong with third parties, because there's not. But my expectations were low. I didn't think it was going to be any big announcements from third party at this point because they're showing it on a Monday. That was a red flag. And I just didn't feel like there's going to be anything significant. I didn't think it was going to be that bad though. Like, I had hoped that we'd hear something from Bayonetta 3. That's a third party game. I had hoped we'd hear something from Skate, the Skate game that's coming. That's a new third-party game. I had hoped we'd hear something about... I went over this in my video, talking about all the third-party games that we kind of know about, or that we know about. My gosh. I can't think of it. Suda... Why am I... This is one of my favorite... No More Heroes. No More Heroes 3. That's another game. We've been trolled on that game from Suda a couple of times this year. And that's a third-party game we'd like to hear about. So, I don't think anybody is overly excited. You can say what you want. You can't say it was good simply because of Shin Megami Tensei stuff, because that could have and probably should have been its own thing to announce maybe closer to... Because it's coming out in Japan. The remaster's come out in Japan this year. I think in September or something. But we have to wait till next year in the other, outside of Japan. So it's not even coming out for us here, but it makes sense for it to be in the Japanese Direct Mini because they're getting that game pretty soonish. But we're not. And, and 5 isn't coming out till next year, whenever time. So it wasn't like they gave us a release date. It wasn't like they were saying January or February 2021. Because that didn't happen. For all we know, it could be September, October 2021. I'm thinking it won't be. But I don't know. We don't know anything about the game. The trailer they showed was a remix of stuff they already showed, and other trailers from before. So, that has to take an L too. I mean, that's just announcing a game that we already know is coming is not. I don't give you credit for that. Like we already knew that game was in the works. And it was obviously shown way too soon or talked about way too soon. So even the good stuff isn't that big of a thing. You got a remaster and a game we already knew about that still isn't coming out for quite some time. So the good part of your Direct wasn't even that great. And the rest of it was just trash. Like WWE, 2K... Battlegrounds or whatever it is. That game looks terrible. And it's a 2K game. It's in the line of the Playgrounds basketball game. So it's in that. So I'm sure it's going to be microtransactions like crazy. And Andre the Giant, you probably have to buy him. Microtransactions and whatnot. And it's probably not going to be that great of a game to play. It's the arcadey wrestling game, and I never cared for those. Like the WrestleMania game, I think on Super Nintendo, and those games that I wanted more tactical, more strategy. Well, not strategy, but more move-based wrestling games, like the THQ ones on N64, the Aki wrestling game. So nothing there. Cadence of Hyrule, I don't have the game. It doesn't do anything for me. Good for people who do, who wanted DLC. Like, are there people that actually just wanted DLC for that game? I don't hear anybody. I don't know anybody that talks about that game. So, but you got that. So there's. I'm missing a game. I feel like. See, I don't even remember. I'm missing. Oh yeah, Rogue Shooters game. The free to play third person shooter game. Okay, it's it doesn't do anything for me, and I never hear anybody talk about it. Again, it's not just I'm just saying, oh, it wasn't good for me. It wasn't a good show. Like, I can watch a show that has games that are not for me, that are presented well and they're somewhat exciting because they're a new thing, and say that's a good show. Not anything for me, or not a lot for me in that show, but it was a good show. So I can look at a show that doesn't have games that cater to me and say that's a good show. This wasn't that. This is just, it was poor. It was a poor decision. I mean, because WWE, Battlegrounds, they put out their trailer already. It was the same trailer, mostly, right? Talking about that game, and it didn't look great then. So why is it going to look better in a Nintendo Direct? It's like they don't know their audience. Robert said that in the Juices Loose podcast. And, it, I was thinking that up until then. It's like, this is what I call out of touch Nintendo. Like, some people were saying, well, maybe they had a deal where they had to show these games on there because nobody would have cared, regardless, that these games are coming to Switch. Maybe they had some kind of deal to get more eyes on it. But, I mean, I guess maybe that works out for you. I don't know. Because I don't hear anybody saying, oh, yeah, I'm definitely getting that. I'm definitely getting, Battlegrounds, or I'm definitely excited for Rogue Company, or whatever it's called. Or I'm definitely getting that Cadence of Hyrule DLC, no doubt, son. Like, I don't hear anybody saying those things. So, I don't know who the audience is, who Nintendo's trying to cater to with this stuff. And, like I said, it doesn't do anything for me. But that's fine. But the show itself has to be somewhat stimulating, and I don't think it was. And it was, it was a mini, and it was pretty much over before you knew it. Retro Death in the podcast is like, he turned it on, he went to get him a drink, and by the time he sat down, he was like, all right, this is our last game. He was like, what? So it was over. At least the Japanese one, had a couple of interesting games in it, I thought. The Atelier game and the Rice game. That's not a rice game, not about rice. Rice is in the title. But it looks like a cool, action, Musashi type of action game with some cool little gameplay elements, quirks and whatnot. At least that stuff looked interesting. At least that would have made for a better. But I don't know if we're even getting those games. Maybe we're not getting those games in the West or outside of Japan, so I don't know. Maybe that's why they didn't show them. But it was at least 12 minutes, and that's a good mini. Once you got to get over the 10-minute mark to me. I think between 10 and 15 minutes is where you want to hit for a direct mini. And then for a direct, you want 24 plus. That's how I feel anyway. But I don't know. Maybe you guys saw something I didn't see. Let's see. Tonio says his PSP is dead. He's going to buy another one in the future. I read that he didn't watch the live. But T, what about Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Remaster? What? That trash out of here. I don't care about that game. Nobody cared about that game. Again, that's another what? Was somebody checking for Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Remastered? No. everybody is screaming at the top of their lungs for 20 years for Pokemon Snap, and we got that. They listened. That's Nintendo listening and getting it right with the fans. But I don't know who wanted Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Like who talks about that game fondly? Like, oh man, I'd love a remaster on Switch, or I'd love to play a sequel or something. I have never heard anybody talk about Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. So I don't know who the audience is for that. Let's see. Atlas is slow at times as Zeno. Yeah, they are. I don't know, man. Chibi WWE is goaty material. It says trolling. It says trolling mystery. Zeno, just say here, let me allow that comment. Zeno says maybe this was like one of those last second school assignments where you just slap shit together and hope it passes. Maybe. It totally felt like that. Like Nintendo had said, or at least recently we thought Nintendo had said that the situation going on around the world today, COVID did not affect them really all that much. But then I think they were misquoted, mistranslated on that. And they said there may be games affected by the pandemic, and that makes sense. But I'm looking at like Sony and Microsoft; they're launching consoles, and Sony just put out 2 pretty big games this year, with Last of Us 2 and what's the samurai game that just dropped. So they still are able to put things out, big games out. Now, obviously, Nintendo has as well. They put out Animal Crossing, but that game was delayed into this year. Imagine if that wasn't delayed. What would we be playing? What if Animal Crossing wasn't delayed into March when it came out? What if it came out late last year? And what will we have this year? What will we be talking about at this point? It would look pretty bleak. And for people who aren't Animal Crossing fans, and there's a lot of Nintendo fans who aren't Animal Crossing fans, or even Paper Mario fans. So I feel bad. I feel bad, and it's a bleak 2020 for them thus far. I would say get Xenoblade Chronicles, but again, if you're not a Paper Mario fan, you're probably not a RPG fan, even though this one isn't an RPG. So you probably never gotten a Paper Mario because of that, because you don't care for RPGs. So if you don't care for RPGs, you probably don't care for Xenoblade Chronicles. So Xenoblade Chronicles is out, and so is Paper Mario. So then you're left with Animal Crossing, and you're like, Animal Crossing it's not an RPG, but it has, RPG-ish elements, world building, stuff. Maybe you're just not into that kind of stuff. It's very possible you're a Nintendo fan who doesn't care about Xenoblade Chronicles. That's a fairly newer IP. You don't care about Xenoblade Chronicles, and you don't care about Paper Mario, and you don't care about Animal Crossing. It's very possible. I mean, I know Juice, except for Xenoblade Chronicles, he doesn't care. But he didn't buy Xenoblade Chronicles because he already had it on Wii, and he's more a fan of X. So he's bought nothing. I don't think he's bought anything for Switch this year, and it's July. It's almost August, and that's crazy. And that's happened to a lot of people. So Ghost of Tsushima. Thank you, 1GWX. Ghost of Tsushima. So, like Sony put out these major titles, and they're also dropping 2 new consoles this year, not just one. They're dropping the different variations. So, and they upped the production. So they're able to up the production because they want to have enough of PS5s. They dropped Ghost of Tsushima, and they dropped Last of Us 2. And the first, that's a lot. That's pretty good. And I'm looking over at Nintendo. I'm like, y'all ain't doing a whole lot. Yeah, doing a whole lot. And then you dropped this Direct Mini, which was just utter whackness. as far as my opinion goes, as far as I'm concerned, because it didn't do anything to shore up, the rest of the year or people's confidence in the rest of the year, and confidence is super low. And Nintendo could obviously drop something. That's an excuse that you hear every time there's like a bad direct or a bad show. Oh well, they can come out next week or next month and drop something and be great. That's great. You're right. You're not wrong about that. But that has nothing, and I mean nothing, zero, to do with this particular show. All I can do, I can't judge them on what they might do in the future. All I can do is judge them on what I see in front of me. And what I see in front of me is not that impressive. Just think about consoles that were lesser. It sold less than what the Switch has sold. And the types of games and the breadth of games that came out on those consoles. Everybody loves GameCube. GameCube had the big franchises. It had, obviously it had Metroid Prime, which was freaking amazing. It had Prime 2. It had Mario Sunshine, which is not my favorite, but a lot of people love Sunshine. It had Wind Waker. So it had that stuff. Along with, but I have to look at my copies here, along with Battalion Wars, along with Wave Race Blue Storm. These are the smaller tier games. Super Smash Brothers Melee, not a small tier game, I forgot that one. Melee, Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door. Obviously, you had Mario Kart, a new one, not one that came from the last damn system that Switch has. Star Fox Adventures, that was Rare's last game. So, but still, I mean, that's a game that was on GameCube. That's a first-party IP. And then you go into like the Mario Strikers and the Mario Sluggers and Link showing up in Soul Calibur and the Mario characters in the SSX games and Wave and F-Zero and Star Fox Assault, and these are games that came out within the first 3-4 years, and on the GameCube, which only sold 22 million consoles. Like, the Switch has already blown that out of the water. And so while Nintendo was putting out those great experiences, big experiences, on the GameCube, the home console, they had the Game Boy Advance on a tear. And they were putting out, new games and franchises like Metroid Fusion and was a Mario Kart Super Circuit. They were still putting out first-party games on their handheld. Switch doesn't have any of that issue. And Nintendo wasn't worth anything near what they're worth now. So they have the fastest-selling console they've ever had, the hottest console on the market. It's been number one for, 19 months now? It's been number one on, what's the chart? NPD. As far as sales, they have no handheld to take away from what they could do. They have no handheld to take resources away from the home console. And the smaller tier stuff is like Super Mario Party, which is pretty bare bones. Kirby, Star Allies, which was very disappointing. So was Yoshi's Crafted World. I was so hyped for that game. Came out, it's pretty much a dud. Very slow, very sluggish, not all that fun to play. Blurry a lot. Like, they are not living up to their own potential, their own precedent. I can sit here and complain and say, look what Sony and Microsoft are doing this year, and you guys aren't doing what I think you should do. But I can leave them out of it, for fanboys, because fanboys will say, oh, Nintendo's their own thing. All right, so we judge Nintendo on Nintendo. If you look at the GameCube, again, which wasn't their highest selling console, it was one of the lowest selling consoles before Wii U. It was the lowest selling console Nintendo ever put out. And they had a variety of stuff. I didn't even talk about third party because obviously third party was more on par because the console itself was more on par graphically with the other consoles. It was actually more powerful than PS2, and just right there with the Xbox One or Xbox One original Xbox. So it was easier to port stuff, and I know it's not as easy to port stuff to the Switch as it was to port to the GameCube. But the Switch got some bright spots that made us feel like, okay, well maybe it won't get everything and it won't get it all at the same time, but it's getting newer games. It got Doom. Doom is a current gen game. It got, I showed I'm just rehashing stuff that I said in that video, but these are facts. These are factual things. And so where I was super hyped and geeked coming out of 2017, how amazing that year was for Switch, as far as the games output and the types of games and the potentials. My excitement for the potential was through the roof. I don't know. It's just not exciting. It's not what I thought it would be, as far as that stuff goes. And I don't know what it has to do with. I miss Iwata. I miss Reggie, because at least there was some excitement that they would bring. Furukawa, he's just a numbers guy, and Doug Bowser, I haven't seen him. He's on a milk carton. He's not Reggie. He's not going to be that charismatic, figurehead. I just think back to how everyone wanted. Well, not everyone, but non-Nintendo fans, haters, and whatnot wanted Iwata, fire Iwata, get rid of Iwata. He was the problem, and then they got on Reggie's head. Oh my God, Reggie just says this and that. He's a PR guy. Yeah, he's a PR guy. That's what he does. But he says all these things. But now that we don't have either of those people, look what we got. At least I had that to fall back on. At least there was that character of Nintendo to fall back on. Now they feel like they have no identity. At this point, Nintendo doesn't feel like it has an identity. Miyamoto is up in age. He's not, the figurehead. He's not, he's not the character of Nintendo like he used to be. Koizumi could be that guy, but he doesn't. Part of it, his issue with him is that he doesn't speak English, so he can't really. It's hard for him to ingratiate himself as much with the Western side of the fandom. But his personality, plays through the language barrier. But we haven't had a direct. We haven't had a full-fledged direct in like a year. And this is the time where you would think you would see more stuff like directs, where they can't do as much as they want to do together in an office setting and all that stuff. This is the time where somebody like me, a video editor, would be like, yo, send me this footage, send me that footage, I'll edit something together, give me a voiceover guy, give him some lines, and I'll put this stuff together and make it cool. They kind of did that with the Mini, but they didn't really have anything to show, nothing spectacular to show, and they're forgetting about the show. And like I said, Nintendo is losing some of its charm to me at this point. I hope it gets it back, but it certainly has lost some charm with me. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. I don't know. Let's see. When is Nintendo gonna make a game where you play as Bowser and you terrorize the Mushroom Kingdom? Well, you got games where you kind of play as Bowser, or he's part of your party and stuff like that. But yeah, they don't really don't have anything where you actually play as him in a setting like that. Who asked that question? Zeno. Mystery. I have a confession, man. I sold my Switch. My Joy-Cons broke for the third time. The online setup annoyed me, and a whole bunch of other little things that just made it feel weird for me. Oh man, I hear you, Mystery. I hear you. I can't blame you. I mean, I'm too invested to do that, and I don't really selling my stuff anyway. But I there's fans that would do that, and I don't blame you for it. The Joy-Con thing totally broke me because that was so un Nintendo like. Um, so that's a thing that totally felt like a numbers thing. It felt like something Nintendo knew was a problem, but they just thought, well, we like our margins and we're gonna push ahead, and that really bothered me. That really broke me, and I complained about it and complained about it, and I think anybody who uses their Joy Cons a decent amount of time, which is something I did. I had Pro Controller, but I liked using my Joy Cons because I liked the HD Rumble. I liked how they felt. You know, I mean, I use them for 250 hours in Zelda alone. I use them in Mario. I don't know how. I couldn't play Mario Odyssey using a Pro Controller. It just wouldn't feel right. Like I need that ability to do the motions, the motion movements, and so I played 50 hours of that game, and I want to restart that because there's not a lot right now big from Nintendo that's holding me. Outside of Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is not a game you're gonna, at least for me. I know some people sit down and play Animal Crossing for 4, 5, 6 hours. I can't do it. That's not a type of game for me to play that way. I take it in increments, hour, 2 hours, every day, every other day. That's how I play Animal Crossing. Um, Retro Death has like 800 hours or some ungodly number. He said, but I mean, I can't disagree with anybody who's feeling down on Nintendo this year. Like I said, there's another excuse is, oh man, how do you complain about video games when there's such and such going on in the world? Look, everybody knows what's going on. But this is a video game forum. Am I supposed to talk about non-video game stuff, or am I supposed to say video games aren't as important now? For a lot of people, they're more important because they're home a lot and they're playing games. So I don't understand that defense of, oh, why are you whining about video games when we have serious things? We always have serious things to deal with in the world. People are always dying. People are always hungry. People are always sick. So I hate that stupid excuse of right now there's important stuff. There's always important stuff. And people still play video games and debate about them and talk about them. So take that excuse and kick rocks with that excuse because I can't stand it. It's the stupidest excuse because there's always serious stuff to deal with. I'm a father with 2 children. I'm a husband. I have a mortgage to pay. Like there's always serious stuff for me to deal with. But yet when I come to YouTube and talk about my hobby, I'm talking about my hobby. I can separate the two things. I don't know why that excuse keeps coming up. It's just an excuse. It's just a defense mechanism that has no weight to it, and it just I see it all the time, and it just annoys the crap out of me. It just really does because it's like, yeah, so what? Yeah, but we're in a video game forum here. We're talking about video games. So if I have a complaint about video games, I'm gonna lobby that complaint regardless of what's going on outside of this forum. I mean, is that strange? I don't think it is. I mean, when you go to a movie forum, you talk about movies, like, oh man, I don't want to really talk down on this movie because my aunt passed away. Well, okay, well maybe you then you probably wouldn't be in that forum to begin with. If something like that was bothering you to that extent, and it should, obviously, it's a family member. I'm just making an example here. I'm just giving an example, but like, if you're in a movie forum, you're there to talk about that movie. If you're talking about sports, you can't say, "Oh man, I don't care about sports right now because some people got shot last week." Okay, well then don't be here. Go off and stay in the real world and deal with that. But when you're in this forum, you're going to talk about things in this forum. So I hate that excuse. I don't understand it. It's like you can't have a hobby anymore because there's serious things going on in the world. There's always serious things going on in the world. Some kid just died. In the last minute, I said I was talking about video games. Does that make me a bad person? No. This is our hobby. This is what we're talking about here. If you want to talk about serious stuff, there are forums for that as well. And you can, talk about and deal with those things. I turn my camera off. I deal with those things. It's not like I don't. But again, I feel like I shouldn't have to say these things. I shouldn't have to teach people this notion that, yes, you can still complain about your hobby when you're in a forum about your hobby. Like, I don't think that's crazy. But some people, again, I think those people know that it's BS that they're bringing that stuff up. They just want to defend and whatnot and protect Nintendo or whatever thing they're trying to defend and protect. It's not an argument. It's a defense mechanism. It's not an argument you're making. It's not valid. It's really not, and I'm so sick of hearing it. I'm sorry I went on that rant, but I see it all the time. Anytime somebody complains about something, this real world thing. Yeah, we know that. We all know there's real world things. We live in the real world. I'm not coming to you from a video game right now. I'm a real world person. I deal with real world things. I have bills to pay. I have mouths to feed. And that's not going to change just because I'm talking about Nintendo's poor Direct. Like, it's still, both of those things can still exist. I can be a functioning human being dealing with the real world and real world events, as well as a hobby, a dude talking about his hobby and complaining about practices that he doesn't like about his company or whatever. So it's insane, but it is what it is. And it's not going to stop. People are going to always use that excuse. And I put in quotations because that's not an excuse. Let's see. Let's see. Mystery, I have the I read that already. I don't know, man. And says Mystery, Nintendo isn't acting like I expected them to before Switch launched. I'm on 3DS games now until further notice. I feel you. 3DS is still a great source of gaming, my man. So I still play my 3DS, and there's a lot of good games that remind you of great Nintendo on there. And it's not like there's not great Nintendo on Switch, because there is. Like I said, 2017 was impeccable, and 2019 had some really good stuff. But it's so disjointed. Like, I'm not. This is not normal for me. And again, I've been a Nintendo fan for a long time, so I have a body of work and a pedigree that I can look back on and pull from and say, hey, they did better in this scenario, blah blah blah. I'm not just being disgruntled. Like, I know what they were, and I know what they are now. And you can't defend that with sales. That's not enough. I don't play sales. I play games. So, 1GWX, Sony is on fire for sure. Switch is looking like GameCube, Wii, lackluster fest right now. Whoa, whoa, Wii U, whoa. Even the Wii U, we were talking about stuff. We had games to play. They didn't come out as often, but we knew what was coming for the most part, and it was still exciting. And we weren't paying for garbage online. It was free. It was free garbage online. No, it was fine. But it was free, and we had Miiverse, and we had cool things that we were doing. And we had 3DS. 3DS was also a nice buffer for what we didn't get on Wii U. So that's why I don't hate on Wii U as much, because there was droughts here and there, but we had we had 3DS propping us up in those droughts, and there was great games to talk about and play on 3DS. And now 3DS is gone, and I think the Switch's blouse is showing because of that. The we can see the wizard behind the curtain when Nintendo doesn't have a portable system. I mean, obviously the Switch is also a portable system. So when they don't have that to buffer them, we're seeing a little bit more deeper into them, I think, and that's what the Switch is suffering for. To me, let's see. Let's see. You want GW new machines to drop. AKA Slayer 101. Man, I agree with you 100%. I hate people defending yesterday Nintendo Direct Mini. My hype for Nintendo Direct are the lowest they've ever been. Yeah, like, and I don't like going into something with low expectations. I don't like that. That's not fun. It's not cool. I don't go in with super crazy, senseless, expectations. But I go in with, tempered curiosity and hope. Is there something wrong with that? So I just go, like, how is that to live? To get rid of video games. If you wake up every day with low expectations, what kind of person are you going to be? What kind of emotional wreck of a person would you be to have low expectations about everything? I'm gonna have low expectations about everything, so that way when something isn't great, then it won't affect. Like, that's lame. That's a lame way to live. That's just lame. I like having high expectations. I have expectations of my kids. I don't have low expectations of my children. I don't have low expectations of my wife, of my career. Like, I have high expectations of everything. My friends, and when they do something that lowers that expectation, it bothers me. But I'd rather be bothered than to have such low expectations of them. They can do whatever, and it doesn't matter to me. Like, I don't think people really think about the things they say. Like, I have low expectations. Like, I don't know. To me, that's not really a way to get around to live in life, and especially in your hobby. This is supposed to be fun. This is your hobby. This is what you enjoy doing in your free time. Hours and hours, years and years of your life doing these things. And to have low expectations of them, that's just whack. To me, that's another defense. I'm just going to expect everything to be crap. So when it's crap, it doesn't bother me. I expected it to be crap. Like, really? Like, I don't know, man. That's just, to me, that's strange. You feel like they're getting too comfortable, says Navon Wise. That's how I feel. Yeah, if you're asking me that, I totally feel like Nintendo is like playing the numbers game. They're selling like crazy, no matter what they do. And so no matter what they do. So why put in any super effort? Again, we have a Mario Kart game from 5 years ago that came on a different console. That's the highest selling game on their current console. You think you're going to get Mario Kart 9? No. Why would you? Why would they go make Mario Kart 9 and kill those stupid sales that they keep getting from Mario Kart 8? Like, and I'm not trying to disparage Mario Kart 8 port. I mean, I bought it. I'm not trying to disparage it, the idea of it as a port. What I'm saying is there's complacency based on sales, I feel like. There's complacency with the Switch based on its sale. Nintendo had an expectation of what it would sell, and it super exceeded the expectations of what they would sell. And so the stuff that they might have done to really push the console to get you to do it, like they did in 2017, maybe they slowed down on some of that stuff. It's like, we can wait. It's selling still pretty steady. We can spread these things out. And we don't need another 2017 type of year, which would be amazing. But Hopefully, it's us, the Nintendo fans. We got hope. I hope this. I hope that. We're full of hope. We have low expectations, but we're full of hope. I hope 2021 is that type of year. It could be set up to be that. I had hoped that we get a new Mario Odyssey game this year, or a new Mario game in general, even a 2D Mario game, a new one. I would be hyped for. I don't have to have that, but I would. I hope, again, it was a hope of mine, being that this is Mario's 35th anniversary. We get something new, not just some compilation like they did on Wii. They did that on Wii for the 25th, and I was like, really? Y'all just gonna re-release Mario All Stars from Super Nintendo on the Wii? Wow. And I don't want them to do that. I want a new game that will really push. It shows they really care. I mean, Nintendo doesn't generally care about anniversaries, but the fans do. How about doing some stuff for the fans once in a while? And Pokemon Snap, that's for the fans game. I'm upset that game wasn't on Wii U, because it would have made a ton more sense on Wii U than it does on Switch. But I'm glad we finally got it. What can I say? I'm glad it's finally a thing. So, but yeah, like, again, Switch is what, 60 million in the bag right now, and they're doing great. So why do what you were doing before? They were pushing, man. They were pushing to sell this thing. It seems like there was excitement around them selling it, and I don't know what happened to that excitement. You saw some of it in 2019. You saw none of it in 2018. That could be just a development cycle thing where stuff didn't come out like they wanted it to. But 2020, again, we have a game that was supposed to launch last year, being Animal Crossing. So if it wasn't for Animal Crossing getting delayed out of last year, whew, 2020, oof. Like, yeah, I do think they're getting complacent. And complacent Nintendo worries me. Complacent anybody worries me. So, yeah, Dave, I'm wise. LOL, people act like we can't have hobbies anymore just because life is serious. Like again, yeah, you're talking about my little rant earlier. Life is always serious. You can still have your hobby and have your serious life. I hate that excuse. Oh man, pandemic, and yeah, we've been here before. We've always had serious things going on. I'm September 11th. I'm old enough to remember that day. I was playing video games that day. I watched the news, obviously, also, but you can't just sit there and watch that stuff and consume that stuff all the time. Because I remember a friend of mine, my friend's aunt or grandmother, my friend's grandmother, during the Iraq excursion that we had, what was it, 2003. She would constantly just watch news all day and learn about fatalities and all. Like, you can't do that. You just become a frightened being. That just, you gotta massage your psyche with your hobbies and have some fun. And that was my point about, on 9/11, I can't think of a more serious day than that. And yet I had to break away and get into my hobby because it's a lot to deal with. And that is, way more urgent and serious because, we didn't know what the heck was going on that day. It was crazy stuff going on that day. But I didn't turn off who I was. You don't have to change who you are. You can have your hobby. You can still live your life, and deal with the serious stuff that goes on. Let's see. What's up? Says Right Chance. What's up, Broham? Navon Wise, I think he's talking to Navon there. Bruce Kent, if people played a game instead of investing negative energy, reinforcing culture, maybe there would be less problems. Yeah, I agree with that. People need to loosen up, you know? People are their own worst enemy. Add your Cash App, PayPal, or so you can get money instead of Google. Yeah. Yeah. You mean for in general, or are you talking about my other channel? Yeah, I will do that. I will do that because again, that's going to be a super high production, time consuming thing, and so if it takes off the way it could, this could be something I do all the time. You know, if it takes off in the way that I hope it could, I don't need it to, but you know, again, it's really cool to do what you love. You know, I do what I love to most of the extent, but making like fun YouTube content, it's fun, and if you can make a living out of that, great. As long as you don't get like greedy, because some people do, and you actually do bring really good content consistently. That's a great thing to have. So, yeah, I will do that in the future. I'll put those links together because I don't want Google making the money if they're not gonna support me the way I feel like they should. So, let's see here. 1GWX. Yeah. Oh my God, people have died each year from flus. People have died from their own issues as well. Not to mention many others ways people have died, including. I don't know if I should say that word will trigger, but people had hobbies. Yeah, I mean, just like I said, serious stuff happens all the time, and we still can live and be ourselves, and it's not at the detriment of something. You can still be who you are, and still be a conscious person who knows what's going on and doing something about it. Yeah, it's not like I don't do things. I don't turn off my camera and I just sit right here where I am and live my whole day. I'm active. I do things. But this is my game channel. This is where we talk about games. Let's see. He's talking to Zeno there, so I won't repeat that. 1GWX is laughing at me when I said I'm not coming to you from a video game right now. Mr. Reed, what mid-tier 3DS games do you recommend? Off the top of my head, Heroes of Ruin is a really good one. It's a Diablo style dungeon crawler game from Square Enix. I think it's really good. Super underrated. Codename Steam, but you got to kind of be into like strategy based, tactical, like quirky RPG elements. Mid tier, like I have to look at my collection. But yeah, I mean, I did a collection video, so go back and watch that video, and I'm sure you'll get a ton of ideas from that. So, Josh90, what's up, man? New here. Thank you for joining, Josh. Are you subscribed? Because if you're not, hit that subscribe button for all great new content. But yeah, thank you for joining. Are you new to my channel, or are you new to my live stream stuff? Either way, welcome. Glad to have you. Hope you stick around. Let's see. You guys are talking to each other there. Navon Wise, it's crazy how it's supposed to be the standards now. LOL. Have low expectations now for Nintendo Directs. Like, yeah, that's a new standard, is to have low expectations for Nintendo Direct. That's lame. I've never, as a Nintendo fan, all the way up to the Switch, from late Super Nintendo, is when I was like a full-on hardcore Nintendo fan, to to now. I've never had low expectations about Nintendo, ever. The GameCube, like, I'm thinking of launches, like N64. Like, I actually wasn't checking for N64. That's why I said late Super Nintendo, until my buddy Carl from high school was like, yo, you better get on that Ultra 64, man. That thing is going to be this. He was so hyped about that thing. And it's funny because N64 and Dreamcast were two consoles that other people hyped me up to. And they ended up being two of my favorite consoles ever. But yeah, like, I was feeling like I'm a big boy. I'm going to stop this video game stuff. And that was a different time then. So there was a stigma, a bigger stigma on video games than there is now. So I was like, well, I'm adult now. So I'm not going to be playing video games much longer here. And so I wasn't really checking for the next generation of game systems. Super Nintendo was going to be it for me. I was going to be done. And my buddy Carl, man, he was just, between classes, at lunch, it's like, yo, man, you got to check out this. It's an Ultra 64. It was still called the Ultra 64 then. And he'd have his Nintendo Power magazine. I would have mine too, because I wasn't a full-time subscriber until 96 or 97. Before I was like a full-time Nintendo Power subscriber. I'd subscribe a year here or there when I had the money. I'd buy the magazine from the stands or whatever. But I wasn't a full-time subscriber until then, so I could maintain a subscription. But he was like, he had his magazine out and on the lunch table. Yo, man, look at that Mario, man. Mario's gonna be crazy. Final Fantasy. It's gonna be crazy. Look at the graphics. He was all about the graphics, Silicon workstations, and he hyped me up to all that. And it's gonna be on cartridges. It's gonna load fast. None of that slow loading like you get on Sega CD, because Sega CD was a thing. And then ultimately PlayStation came out, but he I don't know where he is now. I would like to run into him or see what he's up to now. But he was a full-on crazy Nintendo fan back then. So I just wonder where he would be if he's still like that today. But, like, I never had low expectations, even when I wasn't expecting anything. When I heard about the N64 or the Ultra 64, I had high expectations because, Carl, my buddy, was like, have high expectations. From what he was saying, it's going to have this, it's going to do that, blah, blah, blah. And N64 is my favorite console of all time, still is. Because it was so mind-blowing to me, coming from the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, to that. That transition will never be topped, as far as I'm concerned. And it's just a mind-blowing transition and, amazing games that I play to this day. So my expectations are high. I didn't have low expectations when, they were talking, oh, this Zelda 64. It's like, oh, I'm going to temper my low expectations. It's probably not going to be that great. No, my expectations were high. And every time I got a Nintendo VHS, youngsters, this VHS is at this VCR. It was VCR player, and it played VHSs. And it was a tape, and video was on a tape. Every time I got one of those in the mail from whatever, because of my subscription or something I bought and did a mail-in thing, I had high expectations of that video. That I always did, and I was always very happy. I can't think of one time where any of my VHSs, and I still have them, my Nintendo VHSs, where I was like, oh, that was disappointing. That was lame. Never. Because I was always getting my mind blown. Donkey Kong Country VHS blew my mind. when I saw that game. That game blew my mind. Star Fox VHS blew my mind. When the guy slapped that little, pull it out. I have it right here. When that guy, it was a corny video, but when that guy came out and had this thing, this is called a Rumble Pack, and he had the fake Sony guy and the fake Sega guy there, and he was showing them how to use it. Because they had kidnapped the Nintendo guy. It was a corny video, but it was it was cool. I was a kid then, and so they kidnapped him and made him show him what was the new technology Nintendo had. It's like, oh, this thing's called the Rumble Pack, and you slap it in, and you can feel the R-Wing shake and rumble and all this stuff. And my mind was blown. Like, my expectations were high. My expectations were always high because of things like that. And I got the Donkey Kong Country video, and it showed all these games. Over time, if you look back on the N64's library, you're like, oh, it barely had 300 games on it. Yeah, like that. In retrospect, isn't that big of a thing? But at the time, I wasn't wanting for anything. I mean, maybe a few more RPGs would have been nice, but I was super content with my N64. It was a different time, and you played your games for longer, and you played them over and over again, and you had a different mentality then. But even with that, we were getting regular releases, like regular information. And this was the VHS era. We had to wait in the mail for VHSs, or if you had a fast enough internet, maybe you would wait a few minutes to buffer a 2-minute video. But you had magazines. You check out the pictures, and you'd read the articles. Something nobody does anymore is read articles. Now people watch videos of other people reading articles because I'm too busy for that. I can't even read the news myself. So my expectations are always high for Nintendo. They were high coming off the N64. They were super high. It was like, oh, all right, Nintendo 64 was amazing. Had amazing games on it. Now the GameCube is going to be an evolution of that, and now it's on disc, so we don't have to worry about storage. And just think of all the stuff the GameCube could do, like the stuff that was announced for it. Even if I feel like the first party stuff wasn't as strong, overall than the N64, it had the freaking Wavebird came. That was exciting. This is the first time we had a really good wireless controller. Like, this is as good as any wireless controller we have on console today. Obviously it doesn't have rumble. It's the only thing it's missing, and a rechargeable battery. But this was flipping amazing to me. And you had games that blew our minds. Metroid Prime blew everybody's minds. The visuals in that game. Star Wars Rogue Leader blew everybody's mind. They were comparing that game to the new releases of Star Wars at the time, as far as the graphics go, the visual, the fidelity and stuff. And like I said, there was so many things happening. You had the Game Boy Advance connector cable, to where you can do all these weird things, isometric things on your GameCube using Game Boy Advance games. You had the Tingle Tuner, for Wind Waker. You had oh my God, what was the thing? You had the Game Boy. What do they call it on Luigi's Mansion? The Game Boy Horror. You had, there was a talk about Luigi's Mansion being 3D, and that didn't happen at the end. Again, it is built for a 3D setup, but it never happened. So there was a lot of excitement around that. And what was Rare going to do? Obviously, that didn't come to fruition because Rare bounced. But there was a lot of excitement. Even though the GameCube didn't sell well, there was a lot of excitement for fans around it and high expectations. Nobody was like, oh man, Wave Race probably, I'm not going to have high expectations of that game. It's probably going to suck. No, Wave Race 64. It's not really called that. It's just Wave Race. But Wave Race 64 exceeded like anything I thought I'd see at that time. The water physics in that game in 1996 melted my brain, and how it moved, and it just felt like you were really on water, and it was perfect. And then Blue Stone was like, oh man, the graphics gonna be stupid in this game, and it's still gonna have those cool water physics. I didn't love it as much, but it blew my mind. Pikmin came out and melted my brain. I was like, this game is crazy. Well, it doesn't make any sense, but it works so well. Smash Melee, like, it blew Smash 64 out of the water. Like, you know, Melee is still played and loved to this day. You know, people are still fanatical about that game. You know, like, nothing in Nintendo's history tells me to have low expectations. The Wii blew my mind. Like, again, that was another period where I was like, all right, I'm really done with video games now. It's just going to be prettier, you know, this generation stuff. I'm moving on. And Nintendo started talking. They showed that graphic where they showed the Wii, and they showed all those games that I grew up playing, and it was all going, you know, sucking into my Wii. That's whoa, whoa. And it was, you know what I'm talking about, the graphic where those game logos were, you know, dissipating into the Wii, and that meant all my NES, Super Nintendo, N64 stuff was going to be played on this new console. All right, I'm back in, kinda. And then they had this crazy new controller that blew my mind. And they showed just the Wii remote by itself. It's like, what is that? I can't play a game like that. And they showed the nunchuck, and it just, like, this expectations went through the roof. Now, some of those expectations weren't met as far as, like, the potential, what the Wii could do, and even into the Wii U. But I was excited. I was excited by that stuff. Like, so for me to have low expectations, it just doesn't make sense to me. Because low expectations mean I'm done. Like, why even play? Why even care to play if your expectations are low? Like, I just don't understand that mentality at all. Galaxy blew my mind. Like, how can they reinvent Mario, and it's just so amazing. And how that game looked and ran and played on the 88 megabyte or 88 megabit RAM capabilities of the Wii was just like magic. This has to be magic, how they make this thing work. And just the Wii itself, you know, with the channels and going to the Wii Shop channel, or the WiiWare, or what was the channel where they showed you little video clips, and you could see quick little kind of interviews and things about games. I mean, Metroid Prime and all this kind of stuff. That kind of stuff was very cool to me. Like, I'd used the Wii Weather channel. This is before we had smart devices, so this stuff came in handy, knowing these things before you left the house. And I used my Wii to do all that stuff. And it was an amazing console, and it's just super underrated. I don't know. I mean, it's because it's not as powerful, and it's called the Wii, and, you know, it had motion controls. Man, when I get to my Wii collection, I'm just going to shut all that noise down, because it's like that console reinvigorated me as a gamer. Like, it is a super gamer console. Yes, it got accolades for being on Oprah and Ellen DeGeneres, and it had Waggleware and, you know, shovelware, but it had great games that utilized the Wii remote really well. And it, again, mind blowing. It changed the way I played video games, and I was all in. And then the Wii U came out, and it was just like, I'm confused. But are you really trying to push the Wii thing, further? Because it's not really going to work. But I understand that you're trying to continue that motion stuff, but you're not adding a motion controller in the box. You're just kind of, everybody has a Wii. So we're going to continue Wii, kind of, but we're going to do more GameCube stuff as well. So we're just kind of disjointed with that. But I was super happy with this freaking console. I love this console. Like, this is a great, phenomenal idea that, again, wasn't fully utilized. A lot of it had to do with the software, that Nintendo didn't put out that should have utilized this thing more. It's a little dusty. It shouldn't be. But, like, and being able to use everything I can use on Wii to control for a controller, all the way down to GameCube, like, that's insane. And I can bring over my Wii stuff, and it has a little area to live in. It can live on my Wii U. That's great. Backwards compatibility. That's great. Like, my expectations are high, man. Like, you know, it didn't live up to its potential, but that didn't change the fact that I was super hyped about this console and loved it to the last day. Well, I still play it. I mean, there's not a last day for me. I still love this thing. I have backlog on this thing. So, this is exciting to me. This is, you know, I have high expectations. I had high expectations the whole time. Go back and watch my videos at that time, you know. My expectations about Star Fox, my expectations about Metroid Prime 4, which we didn't get, were high. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, freaking amazing. My expectations were high for that game, and they were exceeded. Super Mario 3D World, my expectations were high for that. I didn't go in to any Nintendo Direct or any Nintendo E3 with low expectations. I went in with high expectations. Now, if they were, my expectations weren't met, or at least, you know, somewhat met, or kind of met, didn't quite get to where I wanted it, but it still has some stellar announcements, I was fine with that. Yeah, but I didn't dwell on what I wanted and didn't get. I was happy to get the good stuff, even though my expectations were high, and maybe I wanted a little bit more. There was enough that I got during the Wii U era that I was happy about up until 2015, obviously, and I didn't hide that. You know, I was very disappointed. A lot of Nintendo fans were. We had therapy session podcasts all over the place for Nintendo E3 2015. So, but up until that point, we had amazing experiences on Wii U. Amazing. Bayonetta 2. I remember the first time I cracked that game open, it felt like I was playing something new. Like I was, you know, the game, I played Bayonetta, but Bayonetta 2 destroys Bayonetta. Destroys it. The same people made this game? Like, that game was amazing. My expectations were high for it, and they were exceeded with that game. Mario Kart 8. Exceeded. Splatoon. Super hyped for Splatoon when it was announced. What is this crazy thing? You're a kid, you're a squid? What is this? That was like... That's Nintendo, though. That is Nintendo. They come at you with the off-the-wall Pikmin thing, the Splatoon thing, and you just blown away. It's like, how does this work? How does this make sense? But it always does. And, you know, all that whole time, you know, we didn't know the name of it, but Breath of the Wild was blowing our minds. That first, when Iwata snapped his finger, or not Iwata, Aonuma snapped his fingers, and Breath of the Wild, Hyrule Field showed up, and Link was on that horse. Amazing. Blew everybody's minds. And you saw the little trailer, and he galloped off, and he fought the Guardian on that little bridge sequence or whatever. Blew everybody's minds. We were thirsty coming out of that. Hyrule Warriors. I love that game. Loved it. I must have close to 200 hours in that game. I did almost everything in that game, and I'm gonna rebuy it on Switch because it adds the 3DS co-op stuff and blaze through that again. But my expectations were high the whole time. Star Fox, my expectations were high. Not met at all. But it's not my fault. that my expectations weren't met, or at least good expectations aren't met. That's not my fault. I'm not going, oh my God, I have to have blah, blah, blah. I'm not like those people who were talking about the Switch beforehand. It needs to have this. They had their checklists. It had to have this, and that. If it doesn't have that, I'm super disappointed. I didn't have the checklist. I had high expectations for the Switch. And when I saw it, I was blown away. I wasn't like some of those people out there who are eating real nice on Switch right now. I wasn't like them, their reaction to the Switch. I was like, this thing is going to be gangbusters. This thing is going to sell like crazy. I said that right away. Unlike some of these people who are, less happy about the Switch after the reveal, I'll say. They wanted that big, crazy, stupid HD console that had a fan on it that could take off into orbit. But no, that's not Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't need that. Nintendo does their own thing. And that's why I loved about the Switch. The Switch was like, oh, yeah, that gyro, we don't have one-to-one pointer stuff right now. We don't have that anymore. But we'll give you this gyro. It's pretty good. It's pretty close in many ways. We'll give you that. Gyro aiming. That's beautiful. Yeah, we're still going to do that. Oh, yeah, it's a traditional controller. Where's mine? I don't know where it is. Yeah, it's a traditional controller. Let me pull this together. Get my visual going here. Let's do it all together here. Yeah, this thing is quirky as hell. Yeah, it's a traditional controller. You have dual analogs. You got 4 action buttons. You have your D-pad here. You have a share button. You can take pictures. You can go home, start, select. All that is there. So you have your traditional thing. But you know what? Slide that on out of there. And that's a controller by itself. Got shoulder buttons. Blew my mind. I thought that was genius. Oh, yeah. So you got 2 controllers, technically, for a lot of games right here, out of the box. Something Nintendo hadn't done since the Super Nintendo. Did the Super Nintendo have 2 controllers? I can't remember. I feel like it did. I feel like it came with 2. Pretty sure it did. So here you are. Very quirky and untraditional, which I loved. And, you like that Wii experience where you had, where you had one side of your controls. You have one side of your controls on this hand and one side on that other hand, Put that together. Oh, you got split action, split Joy-Cons. This is great. I played Zelda all the way through just like this, Mario Odyssey all the way through just like this, and a bunch of other games just like this, because this is super comfortable. I can just kind of chill back, You know how it goes. Like, this blew my mind. High expectations coming out of that January event in 2017. And 2017 did not disappoint me one bit. I was blown away by that year. Started off a little bit slow first couple months, but man, it opened up. Right after Mario Kart 8 Deluxe came over, it opened up. It felt like 3DS. When the 3DS, 2011, when it first came out, it had a decent launch. Decent. Nothing great there. And then it got its Mario Kart 8. It got Ocarina of Time 3D for the 3DS, and it just took off after that. You got Super Mario, you got Mario Kart 7, you got Super Mario 3D Land, and it was over after that. Switch, the 3DS took off. And that's what I was feeling about this bad boy. But this thing was selling from the beginning. It had none of those issues. So, high expectations I had for the Joy-Cons and what they could do. And then when they didn't work the way I thought they would, they broke down on me. It was like, that's not Nintendo. That's not Nintendo-like. My expectations are high for Nintendo hardware. Because they should be. Because this console, this is my day one N64 controller. 1996. This is it right here. And it works perfectly. And the rumble pack that goes into it works perfectly. And the memory cards still work great. I mean, look at this. Look at it. Look at that. It's clean. So when I have a controller that I just had barely a year start doing weird wonky things on me, that's my expectations should be high. You know, this thing still works perfectly too. You know, this is a wireless controller from 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, 17 years ago, and it works perfectly. My NES, my Super Nintendo, all still work perfectly. And so I'm not supposed to have high expectations based on the history of this company? No. The minute I start having low expectations, I'm admitting that this company is not what it used to be. And I can't live with that. I can't be a fan like that. I can't be one of those types of fans. That doesn't work for me. Because Nintendo has always been top quality. No matter if they were number 1 or number 3 or 2 or whatever position they were in the market, their quality has never been matched by anybody. And to see cracked, switches, cracks around the vents and the power button, or like I've seen on both of my kids' Switch, and to see Joy-Cons that I take great care of, to see them falter based on a design flaw, and it is a design flaw, that they had to get a lawsuit to admit to, and apologize for. So, no, my expectations are going to be high, and they're always going to be high, and I'm not one of these new wave Nintendo fans who don't realize or know what Nintendo came from and what they're about. I'm not one of those, and you're not gonna mold me into, your mentality. It's like the Star Wars fans, the newer Star Wars fans, who didn't grow up with what I grew up with, and when I see cracks, I'm gonna point those out. They want to try to hammer you into, the type of fan they are, or you don't like it, you can just leave. No, you can leave. I've been here. This is the beginning. You can leave. If you're about accepting lesser quality, you can leave. So, no, my expectations are not going to drop. My faith might. I hope it doesn't. But, no. My expectations will not falter, will not go down because it makes you feel better as a fan. Nah, bruh. Nah, I ain't getting down with that. I don't get down with that. Nope. You can do that. That's not going to be me. That's the problem with gaming today. Is everybody lowered their expectations and started accepting all kinds of BS. Started accepting broken games. I have a video 5 or 6 years ago, one of my earliest videos on YouTube. Broken gamers equals broken games, and it talks about how fans are just accepting part of their game, not being there at launch, or they're accepting broken games, unfinished games. Oh, they'll patch it, they'll fix it later. I hear that so much today. It's just it's like whatever now. Oh, maybe they'll give a patch. Maybe they'll what? I couldn't imagine going to a store, buying a game, taking it home to play it, and it doesn't work like it's supposed to. And let's say in 2000. 2005 and before, I couldn't imagine that. How can you accept that? Because you've lowered your expectations to the point where they can give you anything. And nah, that's not me. I'm not about that, bruh. I'm going to hold them to their standard. If their standard's lower, I'm out. Because I'm here because of your high standards and your high quality. So, like I said, we started accepting, day one DLC for stuff that should have been on a disc to begin with. If it's there day one, shouldn't it have been in the damn game? You want to sell me part of my game outside of the sale that you already got for the game, nah. And I talked about that then. That's what having low expectations bring you. It brings you broken ass games, and it brings you that as a fan. You start accepting stuff that you wouldn't have accepted 5, 10 years ago. I can't do it. I will. You talking about leave? Then I will leave if that's all I start seeing. You won't have to worry about that. All right, I've been ranting. Let's see. Back up some. I'm new to live streams. I've been subscribed for a while on your channel. Yep. Thank you, Josh. If you're still here, I know my content has been slow lately. It's personal as to why. Real life stuff, because I am affected by real life things. Although some people seem to think people aren't doing stuff, but I'm usually a lot better at putting out content, and I will be going forward. So hope you stick around. Bruce Kent, you should have beat every Zelda game before you can run for president. Navon Wise, oh man, I don't know if I ever were going to get a revolution like that. I was really young, but when I saw Mario 64 for the first time, that blew my mind. Yeah. You're talking about when I was talking about how things blew my mind from Nintendo back then. And I don't really expect my mind to be blown on a visual standpoint, coming from 2D Mario to Mario 64. Like, I don't think that's going to happen in gaming again, but I expect to be blown away from announcements and gameplay. So I have expectations for that. Yeah, my shirt says I have followers. Nice little Pac-Man shirt. Let's see. The 360 era for me personally was the most fun I've had playing games. PS4 era was good, but 360 is and always will be my favorite console of all time. Cool. Like, 360 was a great console. No doubt about it. Especially if you were young. I was young, but my console was probably GameCube or N64, where yours was 360. So you just kind of fell at that right time. And yeah, that was a great era of gaming, for sure. For me, that was the last great era, like truly great era, because we lost a lot of game companies that brought us mid-tier games that generation, and a lot of them just died. They couldn't sustain themselves because it was way expensive to get attention and to get game sales. It was a lot easier before that. But there was some great experiences, Great experiences came out of that generation. Mass Effect. I don't know if I want to put Gears of War in there, but it was a really good series. Uncharted. Dead Space. I mean, there's tons of IPs I can name that were great. I think that was truly the last great, because now they're getting paid again for that era. They're bringing that era back around and remasters and stuff. So, because they know it's hard to top that stuff, because that was, it was a great generation. Ruby says hi Ruby, if you're still around. Sorry it took me so long to get to your comment. Let's see, Bronze 1. I still remember how I felt when I loaded up Mario 64 for the first time. Like, I tell people that all the time. I tell younger people that. Like, that first time, knowing what you knew about video games and experiencing what you had experienced up to that point, that fall of 1996, where, I took that cartridge, slid it into that beautiful looking N64, fired up that game, Mario 64. It's me, Mario. dun 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 dun. And then to see Mario running around in full 3D, full 3D world after your last Mario game was Super Mario World, which was fantastic. I go back and forth on which is my favorite 2D Mario game, Mario 3, Mario Brothers 3, or Mario World. They interchangeable to me, and Mario World often tops that list. But going from Mario World to Super Mario 64 blew my mind, blew everybody's mind. And then to see this weird, this weird controller. This is how would I control? Oh, so for 3D games, I hold it like this, and I get my finger around the joystick here, and I have my finger on the trigger here. So that's like my other shoulder button. If I need it, I don't have to go like this. I just keep it right here. So this is my second shoulder, but my left shoulder. This is my right. So so that's cool. And I have all my it feels really good in my hands, and just to be I'm moving Mario, in all these different directions, and he can jump and he can swim, and he can jump in the they call it little cannons and get blasted out of them, and he can jump into trees and climb them, and that blew our minds at the time, and that's gonna be hard. It's hard to replicate that, And I see these guys or I hear these guys sit around and talk about graphics. Yeah, like it's the same games. It feels the same. Mario 64 did not feel the same as Mario World, but I'm very sure that Horizon 2, or what it was going to be called. What is it called? Coast or the West, something West, Forbidden West, is going to feel very similar to Horizon Zero Dawn, which is a game I really like playing. I really like that game. I'm doing New Game Plus on it right now. It's not going to blow my mind that way. It's going to look prettier here and there about, all that stuff. But it's going to be hard to replicate that. And so my expectations were always high. It was high. My expectations were high the minute I played Mario World for Nintendo. The minute I played A Link to the Past. The minute I played F-Zero. Mario Kart. Super Mario Kart. Super Metroid. Like, my expectations were high with Nintendo since then. And they're going to remain that high. So, Navon Wise, LOL. Ruby says, I really miss the Wii U. I know people hated it, but I love it. You don't have to miss it. It's right here. You can still enjoy it. Mine is right here next to my other consoles. It's right next to my Switch, and you can turn it on and you can still play it. Yeah, they don't make games for it anymore, but I'm sure you don't have every game for it. There's got to be something out there. Just start looking around and looking for things that you can play. The eShop is still open. There's still some pretty cool indie games on there. Armello, I liked a lot for indie titles and there's a lot of really cool stuff on the eShop that you can play. You can buy. So, and probably right now is a good time to buy because other than certain games, like what's the game? My gosh, what is the game? I'm probably not gonna find it. Just looking. The Russian samurai game. Can't remember the name of it right now. My brain's fried. But other than that, I don't see too high prices for that game because that game came out very limited. Does anybody know what the Russian samurai game is? The name of it? It's from the Ninja Gaiden team. Valhalla Studios. I don't know. I can't remember the name of it. I didn't know. I just bought the game. I thought, it was going to be interesting. It's definitely wonky and has issues, but I mean, I found it fun. Even though I can't remember its damn name. Devil's Third. Thank you, aka Slayer. Devil's Third. It's not, but it has its charm. It's that game is like over $200 or something on eBay. I saw. I was like, what? I got it for $50. I think I paid $50 for it. But that's collector stuff. Like, if you don't, that's your kind of game, you're not gonna miss that. But there's a ton of games that are super cheap on Wii U. And some of them are on Switch, and they're not as cheap. So there's that. Yeah, Devil's Third, everybody. Devil's Third. I don't know why I could not remember that. I streamed that one night, actually. That was fun. You can get it digital. Yeah, you can buy. I believe it's still on eShop to download. You can buy it digitally, I believe. But actually, I'm gonna look. Where's my phone? I'm gonna look right now. See how much it costs. Because last time I looked, and I don't care. I'm not selling mine. It's not about that. It's just interesting. It's just interesting to see, what games go for that you have. Oh, darn it. I missed a game I wanted to buy. Some old game. Very cheap. Devil's Third. Wii U. Let's see. Oh. Yeah, so there's a buy it now price for, that's sealed though. $213. Let's see used. Oh, here's a used one with a damaged cover for $179.99. So yeah, $179, $190, $250 for a new one, $190 for used. Yeah. So $170 to $210 for a used copy. That's crazy. So yeah, you're probably. What's funny about this game, because I got it on the second go round. I missed it when it initially came out. I think it was December 2015. So I missed it, and I was like, oh man. And I saw it going up to like 60, 70, 80 on Wii U, on eBay, and I was like, God dang it, I missed it. I'm not gonna pay $80 for the game. I want to play it, but not that much. And then they had a second shipment or something, and all the prices dropped, and boom, $51 and something. I bought it for on eBay, brand new. So I was like, oh good God, I can get it now. And that's not going to happen again. There's not going to be another release of that. So, because Nintendo didn't even want to put that game out, but they knew there would be somewhat of a fan backlash because there was so much hype around it, that game and its development cycle, that they were like, all right, let's produce about 5,000 copies and send them to GameStop and get out of here. I think it was a GameStop exclusive, if I'm not mistaken. And so yeah, like Fatal Frame, like AKA Slayer saying, it's a great game. I have it digitally, and I'm like, only way I can get it physically is to buy the Japanese version, which I can't play unless I mod my Wii U, and I'm not gonna want to play it in Japanese. So. I believe it's available on Steam too if you don't want to overpay for it. Are you talking about, Tony? Are you talking about Devil's Third? Because for a while, only the multiplayer, I think that's why it's so expensive, because only the multiplayer was available on PC. And it was a really good multiplayer, and then they got rid of that. So I don't think you can even find that now, not legally. But and maybe somebody has their own server going playing that game. but it was a really robust multiplayer, which we never got on console. So that was a disappointment. Or did we get it for a little while? I can't remember. I feel like we didn't get it at all. Yeah, I don't remember. But yeah. So let's see if it's in your comments here, and I'm gonna get out of here soon. Oh, here we go. AKA Slayer still really like Star Fox Zero. Splatoon shown off during off the treehouse made me so hyped. Same here. I remember Super Mario 3D World second trailer in the fall direct that made everybody super hyped. Yeah, because the first trailer was kind of meandering a little bit. You got a little taste of it, but the second trailer is what really blew the doors off the game, and it had that awesome big band music, and you know, I think everybody was pretty much sold after that. However, I did swap the back plate to a third-party white and didn't have cracks prior to. I'm missing. I think you're talking somebody else about something there. Master Yoshi, on your shirt. I don't think I'd want to know those kind of I don't think I'd want those kind of followers. Have you gone back and finished Legend of Neil? Yes, I did finish Legend of Neil. It's pretty good. I liked it. It's a good series. I liked it the more I watched it. So, Navon Wise, Devil's Turd. LOL, like how they used to call it. Oh, Devil's Turd. Yeah, that was good stuff. Because everybody was super hyped for that game, but the more and more information came out for it, it went from Devil's Third to Devil's Turd. But again, it's still fun to play. Like, it works. It has some wonkiness to it. What's my favorite word when I talk about jankiness? It has some jankiness to it, but it's still fun to play. But it's not worth $250. Like, I wouldn't pay anything near that. Zelda is a sexy black girl in the YouTube live action show The Legend of Neil. Yeah. Are you talking to somebody else there? Bronze, it had a decent multiplayer. Yeah, it did. It had a really good multiplayer, actually. Fatal Frame, Made in the Black Water is so good the game should have been ported to the Switch. Yep, 100% agree. If you're going to bring over Switch games, or you're going to bring over Wii U games, bring over stuff like that. There's physical versions of Fast Racing that we didn't get. I think they're only in the UK, or not UK, only in Europe. They got physical copies of Fast Racing Neo. Retro Death sent me one. I have a copy of a physical version of Fast Racing Neo, the Wii U one. And obviously, Fatal Frame is only physical in Japan. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to have to share that, Master Yoshi, with other people. Because, I watched it. I watched the first couple episodes, and I liked it. But it didn't grab me until, as I got more into it. And it's pretty good. Really good, actually. I'm going to have to recommend it to others as well. Let's see. You can get it. Oh, yeah, I read that already. Tony said he was talking about Devil's Third. Let me see. Oh, yeah, Devil's Third, the entire game? I don't think so. Let me open up my Steam here. I don't think Devil's Third is on Steam. It could be. I could be completely wrong. All right, let me check. I'm going to check right now. Because I think it's worth playing, but not at that price. Let's see. Nope. Only devil I see is Devil May Cry. I mean, like I said, the multiplayer was on Steam, I think, for a little while. Yeah, I do not see Devil's Third. A lot of Devil's games, but no Devil's Third. Yeah, it was a controversy because the multiplayer was only on Steam, I believe, for a little while, and then that went away. So unfortunate, because that was a really good part of the game. That's what a lot of people were really excited for, was that multiplayer. So when it didn't happen, we were kind of upset. That's when it became Devil's Turd. A lot of us were mad at NOA because NOA did not want to ship that game. Let's see. Master Yoshi, I'm so happy you love Resident Evil 2. I love telling everybody. Yeah, I think I read that, didn't I? Thanks for watching it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Famicom Mike, Little Big Planet on PSP was pretty fun, and my first LBP game. I never played it on PSP, which is kind of weird because I love the PSP. But that game came out toward the end of PSP, didn't it? Because I have the PS3 one. That's the one I played. So, I can tell by the reflection in your guitar, says Master Yoshi, that your ceiling fan is spinning in the correct direction for summer. Yeah. I'm going to play some Mario Kart 8 Deluxe now. Peace, Big T. All right, Master Yoshi, thanks for joining. And thanks for recommending Legend of Neil. Good stuff. Yeah, everybody should check that out. Legend of Neil. Just put it in your YouTube search. You'll find it. Good stuff. Yeah, that's all I have. I have nothing else. It looks like that's all you guys have. So I'm going to bounce out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I went through my PSP collection way faster than I thought it would, which is good, because I got to talk about a lot of other things that I wasn't expecting to. So, am I missing something here? Let me read these comments I missed from earlier. Let's see. No, I read that. Oh, Neon Wise, my life was shitty today. Well, it's because you had high expectations. That's a good one, Avon. Good stuff. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm going to mention it. I'll probably mention it in my next video. Master Yoshi, Legend of Neil. Let's see. Famicom Mike. I worked for GameStop when PSP was still selling, or still being sold, and got a PSP first. Then PS3 eventually came. Okay. Wasn't Little Big Planet also a pack-in game when it first came out, or right after it first came out? Because I remember seeing. I feel like I remember seeing like a Little Big Planet PSP bundle. But yeah. Have a good night, T. Been a long-time fan since 2014. Wow. Thank you for sticking and rocking out with me, Famicom Mike. Were you always Famicom Mike? The name's familiar. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So, again, I had hoped to have a Nintendium video up at this point, but my shirts haven't gotten here yet. The mail system right now, packaging system is super slow. Weird things are happening. Things are just sitting at what do you call them? What are they called? Service centers, mail service centers, for days. It's annoying. So, like I said, I want my Nintendium channel to be all Nintendo all the time, and to be like a really professional channel. So this is a prop that I want. I want my Nintendium shirts so I can have them. And yep, always say, okay, yeah, I remember Famicom Mike. I remember that name. So I want that, because that's a prop that I want to use utilize all the time, and I want to keep it consistent. Because people like consistency, so I want to keep that channel consistent from day one. Unlike this channel where I had to go kind of back and forth. I had ideas that I was going to utilize, but certain people didn't come through the way I thought they would, so this channel had to keep changing and morphing into different. I want Nintendium to be one way the whole way through. Same thing with Mizzah Tee ATM. You will not, I don't think you'll see my face on that channel. You hear my voice. I have a good I have a good idea for how my voice is going to be utilized, and but you'll see Puppet Tee. Puppet Tee will be running that channel. So those of you who like the puppet, Mizzah Tee ATM is where you're going to see that. This channel was supposed to be Mizzah Tee, the doll, or the action figure, or whatever you want to call him. As he's supposed to run this channel, and unless I'm doing live streams, obviously. So I want to get back to that, and Puppet Tee will run Mizzah Tee ATM along with DV. And if you want to know what DV is, you got to watch the show, subscribe. And same thing with Nintendo. I want Nintendo to be consistently quality, look a certain way every time, and I want to keep that consistency. So if you're not subscribed, please do. Guess I'll share. Let's see. What's the easiest way? Because I can't switch, and I can't look it up because those channels don't have any content yet, so it's going to be nearly impossible to. Here, I'll do this. Why is it going so slow? Why are you going so slow? Antonio, do you know Arlo? He also uses a puppet. Yeah, I don't know him. I know of his channel. But yeah. Yeah, I know his is a lot closer to like Sesame Street as far as his puppet work and whatnot. So, alright, so here is the movie channel, Mizzah Tee ATM. I will have videos up this week. I can't guarantee when. Like I said, I'm waiting on things that haven't shown up. But Mizzah Tee ATM will probably have it'll probably be the first channel other than this channel to have content up. My first video. And I'm reviewing my favorite movie of all time. Should be very fun. And then we'll go from there to Nintendium. Whoops. See, that one's going to be super... Oh, I found it. I was going to say that one's going to be super hard to find. Because I think there's another channel... or another person at least named themselves Nintendium. I don't think they have a channel. So let me click on there. So that first one. Alright, copy and paste. Alright. I'm going to just send that one now. So that is Mizzah Tee ATM, the movie channel that I just put there. And the second one is Nintendium, the professional Nintendo all the time content, just straightforward Nintendo news type of stuff, or documentary type of stuff. That's where you're gonna find that. All right, so first one's Nintendo 18, or first one's Mizzah Tee ATM, and the second one's Nintendium. And Mizzah Tee ATM will be movies and music. Not music, maybe some music, but movies, TV shows. It'll be nostalgia trips, just reviews of cartoons I grew up with, and so again, you'll see Puppet T. He'll be doing this thing. He'll be the host of that show, along with DV, and you'll find out who DV is very soon, and what that stands for, what it means. But yeah, I'm excited for these channels because this is getting to where I want to be doing things on here. So anyway, that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I hope maybe you saw some games that you might, if you have a PSP collection. I'm gonna see what's wrong with my PSP, if I can bring it back to life. I mean, it's alive. It's just not displaying anything. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching and listening as always, and the support. Some of you have been here for a long time, like Famicom Mike. I appreciate that too. Some of you are very new, like Josh, and appreciate you as well. Let's see. That was a fail. I didn't mean to do that. But anyway, thank you guys again for watching and listening. Have a good night. Enjoy your hobby. You can talk about your hobby even in these trying times. And peace out.